When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Arc, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.
Everyone, people, gentle peoples across the internet, it is my great pleasure, my great honor to welcome you to ArvCon 2021. It is our 7th annual Arvin Aileron convention, ArvCon, to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. I am enormously excited for this. I am enormously excited that we get all of you lovely people with us and that we get day one of ArvCon kicked off right with the Esper Genesis crew. It is going to be great. I am very excited for it. I want to raise a ton of money. I want to do a ton of good, have a ton of fun, and bring ourselves together as a community as we do every year during this event. It is a great pleasure to have all of you with me and to have all of us together. Welcome, Arvanauts, to another session of Esper Genesis featuring the Esper Genesis crew in Shadow of the Zephyr Stormfall. It is amazing to do that, and I see that we already have a donation. If that's what I think it is, Nonstop, in which case, thank you. It's exclamation point donated. Exclamation point donated is actually what we do. Can you do that? And then I will officially put that in there, and I will be super happy and excited, and like I will put that in immediately and all that kind of good stuff. I wait with bated breath. There it is. Yay. I can't even get the words out. And we've got a donation. Thank you so much, Nonstop. It means we've got immediately. I always like starting with the 0 in there, even though I contribute a little bit myself too, because I just like seeing where we start from and immediately where we go. $100 right out of the gate. Thank you so much, Nonstop. That's really awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Always appreciate. Nonstop has been a big member of this community for a long time. Thank you, Nonstop, so much. And that, folks, is exactly how you do it. This is the object lesson. Normally, I would tell you how to support the channel and how to do all those things. And the only thing I'm going to tell you today is to follow the channel and to support us by checking out our YouTube, our Discord, checking out the shop, the merchandise, the Patreon, and all that kind of good stuff. But I'm not even going to talk about those commands right now, because instead I want to talk about the reason that we're all here, and that is exactly what just happened there, which is Nonstop's donation to the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. Before I get started, I am going to fire up my camera. Well, bam, there we all are. It is great to see you all. Thank you all so much. I got a ton of people that I'm going to have to thank over the course of the weekend, although most of it I'll save for the end. But I do want to say so much how much I'm grateful to all of the work that everyone has done, including the mods who are going to be working tirelessly behind the scenes to manage giveaways and stuff like this weekend. All of the players who are sacrificing their time to be with us. Of course, all of you lovely people who are spreading the word and joining us for this event, and especially all of those donating to the cause of the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. And of course, on top of that, if we haven't already said so, thank you for the host video store cowboy. If we haven't already talked about this, thank you as well to our amazing corporate sponsors that we've got on the left side as you look at the picture. And I see that we've just had something else from Prince Justin. Thank you so much, Prince Justin. That is really awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. $115. And by the way, that donation that leads us to $100 means we've already got a donation. So I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can. I don't want to keep the players waiting, but since this is the opening of ArvCon, I do need to go through a few things here. So first, I want to thank all of the wonderful sponsors that you see over there. We are sponsored here this time by 10 separate companies and one mystery company, I should say, which is going to reveal itself tomorrow. But we have 10 right now that have openly supported us. And that is, of course, Alligator Alley Entertainment, Athos Arts, Beamdog, which just came on yesterday, Fatbot Games, GOG.com, Hairbrain Schemes, Kraken Dice, Nomad Games, Pegasus Spiele, and Tin Man Games. I'm so thankful to all of them. A lot of those are repeat people, but some of them are new. Kraken Dice is new, Fatbot Games is new, Pegasus Spiele is new. So thank you to the new folks. Thank you to the return folks. I'm so grateful to all of you. They have given books, they've given codes, they've given so many things. So thank you to those sponsors. And I also want to thank the people who are going to be giving the top prizes. So the way that this is going to work is every $100, our goal is $2,500. Every $100 that we reach along this goal, and I'm going to explain how you donate in just a moment, we are going to have a giveaway. And Dragon Spear and JRAB have worked together to produce this incredible spreadsheet. Dragon has been the one who's done the spreadsheet, has really broken down the spreadsheet the most. Dragon did all of the different prize listings and all this stuff because Dragon Spear is amazing and awesome. So Dragon has put together all of these things, and every $100 we're going to be giving away basically a prize pack, essentially is what it is, that will consist of all kinds of different things. I just brought one little sample here. We've got a whole bunch of stuff, but I do want to mention that one of the things that we've got up here is not only a set of dice from, let's see if I can show it. It's not going to necessarily show in this kind of light, but these sets of dice, but is going to do so with this swag deluxe dice bag right there. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So we've got stuff like that. We have a bunch of books that are there. Oh my god, we got another $50. We got another $50. The spreadsheet is all Dragon. Yeah. No, I that's right. It is all Dragon Spear. Thank you so much, Brahms. $50. Thank you so much, man. So we're up to 165 already. That's amazing. Thank you, Brahms. Seriously, I appreciate that. So we've got all of this incredible stuff that'll be giveaway, and every $100 we're going to be doing another giveaway. We have multiple prize packs for multiple goals, and thank you all so much for contributing and making that a possibility, and being the one who gives them up as well. Coven, you're a plain black felt dice bag. Do you mean this plain felt dice bag, perhaps, that's also being offered, and that also has their Kraken? Come on, you can do it. Kraken logo. Yeah, there you go. That Kraken image. So anyway, we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be giving away every $100. The top donators, by the way, are going to win prizes. The third, sorry, I put this too far away. the person who contributes the third most over the course, right now Nonstop is in the lead, but it's early. Thank you for this resub with Prime, Jay. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And thanks so much for all the help this weekend as well. The third top donator is going to win this. It is a copy of the limited edition hardcover Kickstarter edition from Athos Arts. This is my one of two remaining copies. One of the copies I'm keeping for me, but this is going to be going out to you. This is going to be shipped to anywhere you are. It is amazing and like beautiful on the inside. I mean, I'm not going to say whether the story is amazing, but it did just win an IBPA silver medal for best graphic novel in the Benjamin Franklin Awards. I'm saying that because I've been so incredibly happy that it won that. But so yes, incredible art, and I hope it's a good story, and it's an incredibly beautiful book. And Coven's name is in that book. It's true. So this is going to the third top donator. The second top donator is going to get something from the incredible Prince Justin, who just donated, and you would think that he wouldn't need to do that since he is already giving you this. First of all, Prince Justin sent me two of these, so this is my copy, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you again. I appreciate that, Prince Justin. But this is his own photo, which has been transferred to metal here. I think this actually looks even a little bit cooler in the purple light, maybe, but this is an amazing, amazing picture, and it's literally got a stand built in, so you can just put it on your desk. This is going to be shipped to the second top donator. It is really, really beautiful and kind of inspiring, actually, this picture. Really lovely stuff. So that's going to be going to the second donator, and the top donator is going to go to, I don't know if you can see, but that right there is the fireworks picture that is brought to you by the amazing Rock God. I will bring that down at some point, probably tomorrow, and show that off. That's going to the top donator. So right now, Nonstop is the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, for that. But that's really amazing. No, that's totally fine, Coven. I get it, dude. That's more important than that's totally important to manage and take care of yourself in that way. So I totally get it. So yes, that is going to be going to the top donator. So I'm really grateful for Rock God and for Prince Justin and I guess and for Athos Arts to making it possible for us to do what we're doing here. But the real reason that we're all here, of course, and by the way, the overall goal for the weekend is $2,500. I really want to make that number. I think we can. Last year we made $4,000, but it was for a different charity. It was the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and Kilobyte had passed away, and it was a lot of things that sort of made that a little bit different. But the year before, we were somewhere in the $1,900 range, I believe, for Damon Runyon. And this year, I'd really like to be able to hit that $2,500 number. Damon Runyon themselves have gone all in on this and supporting us. That page, and I'm going to explain how to donate in just a minute. When you go to that page, you'll see that there's a link describing the schedule. You'll see there's a link even to a little bit of the history of it, and then there's an actual donate link. And as you will know, those of you who have already donated, the donate link goes directly to a PayPal link. That's right. You can do it via PayPal. Thank the gods. So that means that international folks can contribute. It means that I'm so glad that we're able to do PayPal now, and that makes it possible. So the way that you donate, so first of all, thank you to Damon Runyon for really supporting us and doing this year. The way that you donate is really simple. If you type in !donate, you will see the way to do it. The basic idea is to click on that link that you're going to see when you pop up that command. That will bring you over to a page. When you go to that page, you will see on the bottom there is a link that says donate now. Click on that and you'll be able to put in the amount that you're donating. Once you've done that, return here to this channel, or just close the other window, type in !donated space, and then the amount that you're actually donating, and it will pop up and say something like, praise them with great praise, they have contributed this money, blah, 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 and I will add you to the running total that you can see there on the screen. If you wish to stay anonymous, that's fine. Simply private message me, DM me, probably through Twitch is the easiest way to do this. You can try through Discord, but I'll be looking more at my Twitch stuff while I'm actually running the game. So send me a message on Discord and let me know I'm contributing this, but I don't want people to know who I am. I will simply thank the anonymous person without mentioning who you are, and I will put that number up there on the list. Obviously, if you are the anonymous donator and you contribute the most, if you don't like if you're anonymous, I won't be able to probably give you the prize because while still keeping you anonymous, you know what I mean? So if you drop $1,000 anonymously, you're going to win that prize unless you explicitly say, I don't want to get the top donation prize. So that's the only thing about being anonymous or not. You'll just have to keep that in mind. But otherwise, you're certainly welcome to donate anonymously if that's what you so choose. But we encourage you to be able to let us know if you've if you were able to, in a position to be able to donate, because obviously we want to celebrate that when it happens, because we get behind it and we get some momentum behind this as well. That number is going to continue to rise throughout the course of the weekend. I do want to let everyone know that there is no number that's too small to contribute. I understand that this has been a very, very difficult series of 15, 16 months for everybody. I fully am aware of that, and everyone's financial circumstances are different. I in no way wish to suggest that if you're not donating that you're somehow freeloading. That is not the case. I'm glad simply that you're here, but I would ask that if you are here, that you spread the word in whatever way you can that's not obnoxious. So if you had sort of links to particular communities and you can not seem as if you're spamming by doing this, please make sure to spread the word. Let them know the event is going on. Bring them in. Tweet about it. Put it on Facebook if you're on Facebook still. Do whatever you do. Please let people know about this. The more people we get in here and the more excitement that we generate, the more that we can get money raised for this awesome cause. And some of you may be asking, what does Damon Runyon do? I'm glad you asked. Damon Runyon is a cancer research foundation which supports young researchers, young scientists who are engaged in bold ideas and concepts in their research. Typically, things like this are not easy to get funded because, first of all, the people, although they are all gifted with doctorates and MDs and things like this, they do not yet have the level of experience necessary to be able to get a big grant. But a lot of the biggest cancer fighting ideas and indeed medical ideas that we've had over the centuries have come from people who thought big with an evidence-based system behind them to back it up. And so this really, Damon Runyon, which has been around for many, many years, does exactly what I like, which is supporting people to make these kinds of discoveries and supporting young people, which is a group of people that I've worked with most of my life, to be able to use their energy, their passion, their intelligence to pull those things together, and most of all, their compassion and their dedication together to be able to make something big happen as a result. And Damon Runyon Fellows have had enormous effects on fighting cancer in every walk of life that you could imagine and for every kind of brand of cancer that we were dealing with, every kind of form of cancer that you're dealing with. Damon Runyon is also important to me because Damon Runyon gets some of their resources from Broadway ticket sales. And of course, Broadway ticket sales are important to me because my mother was off Broadway in the 1960s and was in the traveling company The Sound of Music, and I've reviewed many shows for many years in New York off Broadway and have seen many Broadway productions and so forth. And so the idea of it being tied into the theater is also appealing to me, particularly since the reason that we support this charity for a personal standpoint is because I lost my mother to breast cancer. I lost several dogs to breast cancer. I lost family members and friends and have seen people affected in all sorts of ways by this dread disease. And though we've been fighting another dread disease in the last 15 months, that doesn't mean that cancer has gone away or that somehow that's no longer a problem because we're dealing with other problems. This is still an enormous killer and an enormous problem. And so I just wanted 7 years ago when we started this, I wanted to do something rather than just sit helplessly and watch people and animals and pets and all sorts of creatures that I cared about die from versions of this disease. I wanted to do something. And so ArvCon was born. We have raised almost $15,000 over the last 7 years for various functions that relate to largely Damon Runyon. 6 out of the 7 years have been Damon Runyon. 1 year was juvenile diabetes research. And I'm so glad that we've been able to do this collectively. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all the people involved. Last note that I'm going to make, then I got to jump over there to introduce the players to you, is that in addition to this thing you see on my right, we also have an event list here. And here I have to thank Shadowed Mage for 2 things. First of all, Shadow did this splash screen that you saw, building in part on the work of Kilobyte some years ago, but also on his own very hard work. And Shadowed Mage also is the one who has done all the stuff in programming stuff with ArcanaSpot and making the new commands that you see here for Damon Runyon. So Shadowed, again, thank you so much for the splash screens, for the overlays, the donation boxes that you see, all this stuff that you see from here. Thank you, Shadowed, for doing that. I really do appreciate it. This is all stuff where people are volunteering their time and energy. And so I'm so grateful to Shadow Mage for doing this. That said, the schedule looks like what you see right down there on the bottom left of the screen as you look at it. It begins tonight with Esper Genesis. Tomorrow, Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m., I am going to have a conversation, an interview with 3 scientists who have been supported by Damon Runyon. Haripriya Narayan is one of the qualitative biology fellows at UCLA. Caroline Bartman is one of the Damon Runyon fellows at Princeton, and Balant Kakso is one of the Damon Runyon Fellows at the University of Pennsylvania. These 3 young scientists are going to talk a little bit about what got them into this research and why it matters, and they are also, thank you so much, I see that we've got a thing, Garlic Tofu with a $25, thank you Garlic Tofu, that means we are closing in on $200, folks. We are closing in, which is a big deal. Thank you so much, Garlic. I know how much that means, especially given the situation we've talked about with COVID and the press and everything, so thank you. And also, just quick side note, go and support the Kickstarter running right now for Athos Arts. It is a group of stories, Romanian non-binary stories that are really fairy tales, that are really cool and beautifully illustrated. They have already been funded. Took them a little over 2 days to do that. So go and check them out. Garlic, you should drop a link in the chat. I know that's not the focus of ArvCon, but I do want to give some support. So please check that out because, again, Garlic Tofu are great people, and it's not just because she's my publisher. No, seriously, they're really, really good people, and it's a really great project. So congratulations on funding. Let's keep pushing them forward if we can. All right, so thank you so much for the donation. So these 3 scientists, we're going to speak to them about their research, and those 3 scientists are not going to have just a one-time only appearance, because on Monday, they are going to be showing up at 3 p.m. Eastern as Mike Underwood, Turbo Tango, brings them through Scum and Villainy. Now, I do want to point out, it was the scientists who chose Scum and Villainy. I am desperately trying to resist making a mad scientist joke. I'm just saying, I report, you decide. I don't know what to tell you. But I really, really want to point out here that awesome. Yes, thank you for posting the link, Garlic. I really want to point out that that's what they did. Anyway, they are going to be doing this at 3 p.m. on Monday, on day 4 of ArvCon, which is going to be really great. So they are going to be the interview that we do tomorrow. Thank you for the cheer, Jay. I appreciate that very, very much. Give in to your evil desires. I don't know what you're talking about, Helness. I didn't make any mad scientist jokes. What do you mean? So we start off with that at 11:30 a.m. Then at noon Eastern, we are going to be moving into Adventures in Middle-earth Erebor Adventures. AIME will be here and trying to help raise money for the cause. We will move on, at 4 p.m. Eastern, to D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder. This is what we hope will be the climactic session. We're going to be running from 4 to 8 p.m. Eastern-ish. It might be more like 8:30. It depends on how long it takes us to get through it, but we're really hoping that we can get through the finale of D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder. So Adventures in Middle-earth, of course, will feature Trendane, Amal El-Matar, Terry Toons, and Brad Bollier. D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder will, as always, feature Peripheral Mike, Darksaber 2K, Pyron Jade, and Chai for their final session of Storm King's Thunder. And then at 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will have the community D&D with the Shadow Crew. So we will be joined, of course, by Triffity Mats, we'll be joined by Rock God, we'll be joined by Hoodie, and we'll be joined by Echo Alpha X5, being DM'd by none other than our own Shadowed Mage. And in prime time on Saturday, from 8:30 till whenever, they're going to be giving you stuff with that as well. I am Dave Johnson. Thank you for that $10. We are up to 200. That's our second giveaway. So we've got 2 giveaways already, and I haven't even finished the introduction yet. Thank you so much, Dave Johnson. $200. Let's keep this going, folks. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, Dragon of Icespire Peak Community D&D with the Shadow Crew. Sunday, we have the D&D with Infinity and Beyond Marathon session, which has been a fixture in ArvCon for many years. That is going to be the conclusion of the Infinity and Beyond Palace of the Red Pasha campaign. Next month for D&D with GOG, we get started with Ghosts of Saltmarsh. D&D with Infinity and Beyond, starting next month, we are going to be featuring you're going to be featuring Eberron, and I'm going to be announcing during Palace of the Red Pasha, I'll be announcing all the players for the new Eberron campaign as well. But the finale of Palace of the Red Pasha with, as always, Trendane Sparks, with John Helfers, Radio Johnny Panda, with Darkside Rob, and with Sod for the last time before he steps back from Twitch for the better part of a year. That is going to be the finale of Palace of the Red Pasha. That night, Sunday night, we will start with our concert at 9 p.m. Eastern Eastern. We've got 3 performers for you. Kilgore Trout making his return appearance, he of the master work in guitar. Zach Clay will be debuting as a musician for us anyway on our concert. That'll be starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then 11 p.m. Eastern, Indy is going to be joining us. That is Jordan Indiana Gonzalez, who is really awesome dude. He is going to be wrapping up for us. He has done this the last couple of years, and he's very excited to do it again. So this is going to be really slick. I'm very, very excited for that. Finally, Monday, day 4, we have, as I already said, Scum and Villainy, a one-shot with the DRCRF scientists I previously mentioned, and Mike Underwood as the GM. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern, I beg your pardon, at 6 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be having the final event of ArvCon is going to be the Rising Tides, Brandon O'Brien, hosting Pyre Waltz. This is a game in the micro RPG book that Brandon is also featured in. It is a game that will feature Mike Underwood, Valerie Valdez from Blades in the Dark fame. It will feature the Rising Tides, from Blades in the Dark fame and Rebel Crown and Soundclash and all the other awesome things that Brandon does. And Amr Amaraz, also from Soundclash, The Clampdown, facilitated by the game's designer, Soup, who is at Literal Soup on Twitter. So this is going to be an awesome way, a new game for us, and it's going to be an awesome way to finish up ArvCon. Altogether, we have a grand total of 7 separate campaigns. I don't even want to count the number of players yet. We also have an interview and a concert. And so we got a big event planned for you folks with giveaways and all that kind of good stuff and surprises. So we've hit $200 already. Let us keep it up. I am super excited for it. And now the time has come because we have really got to get into the players. And I'm sorry that it took us so long for us to get started, but I really had to get through that stuff. And so now, at long last, I'm going to bring the players in. I apologize unreservedly for all the time that it took to go through it, but it wasn't my fault. I kept getting interrupted by donations, which, as the so-called We Are the A-Team group that wants to take over the A-Team,
so-called, he says.
And that's going to bring us over to here. And it is my great pleasure to bring in the Esper Genesis crew. I will say, before I hand things over to them, that these are the current reigning champions of the ArvCon groups. Last year, they brought in $2,000 in one session to benefit the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. It has been declared and sworn by the other groups that are participating in this event that this will not happen again. I think one of the quotes was, "This shall not stand." And so I don't know whether this will stand, but I just want this crew to know that the gauntlet has been thrown, and you folks are going to have some work to do to make sure that you stay ahead of those who are trying to step up into the game, as it were, quite literally in this case. So thank you to the amazing crew of Esper Genesis. And just let you know, that's what's out there. They believe they're the best. We'll see if that is the case. So let's keep making this happen. So with that said, I'm going to jump over now, beginning with the amazing and awesome video store cowboy, Mr. Johnnie Pittman. Johnny, it is good to see you. Welcome. It is my great pleasure to have you on board. How are you feeling today? How's life in the universe? Who are you playing? Any thoughts about the hype that is ArvCon 2021?
First, let's just address this. We're the best. There's just no question about it. It's just not going to happen. Nobody else is going to have that. We're going to, retroactively, people are going to be coming back at the end of other people's, shows, and they're going to be coming back and be like, no, this is for the Esper Genesis crew. Here's an extra $5. Here's an extra $10. They're going to be doing that until
$1,000 in Infinity and beyond. They're like, here you go, but Esper Genesis.
Hi, I'm Mark Hamill, and I want Esper Genesis to get $5,000. Oh man, I appreciate the gauntlet that's been thrown. Beyond trash talking the other groups, how's life been for you, Johnny? How are you, and who are you playing today?
Life's been interesting. The world is opening back up officially, supposedly here in California. June 15th, they are removing the mask mandate. It's a little silly, even though most of us are already vaccinated. So, be careful out there, folks. Other than that, just been work busy. So I'm really glad to be back playing here tonight. It's been, I think somebody said it was 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's been 7 weeks since we played. Yeah. Yep.
That's ridiculous. That's just nuts. But anyways, so playing Aramis. I was going to say Artemis. That's weird. Aramis, the Ashenforged Melder, who I believe is level 10. I think we discussed this in the pre the show. It's level 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
Well, 10 is defined as 9. Yes, absolutely. What is
Well,
that? 10 base 10 minus 1 or some math
you just
stuff?
Google search it. 10 C9.
Yeah.
C8.
Yeah, exactly. If 10 equals 9, what does 9 equal? 8. Oh man. Well, it is a great pleasure to have Johnnie with us, math knowledge or not, and level 10s or not. And also my great pleasure to have with us Kat Rambo. Kat, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Same question. How are you feeling about A, this event, and B, how are you feeling in the world with yourself, etc., and C, who are you playing today?
So I am super stoked, and I'm going to be shamelessly caging for donations. And anybody that donates, I'm willing to dedicate a swing of Petra's hammer.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
And I will describe it in great detail whenever, if you want to do that. I wanted to let folks know I have a book out. Exiles of Tibet.
Yay.
That is the third of the Tibet books. If you haven't read them, don't start with this one. That's a terrible one to start with. Start with Your Heart or Beasts. But I'm really super pleased with that.
Wow.
And I will be playing Petra Sinis, who is an ashen forged sentinel with an enormous hammer. And I may have mentioned that you could get her donate or to dedicate one of those hammer swings to you and you alone, or the person of your choice, should you donate.
Your hammer swing. That's true.
Hey, Kat, could you give us a very brief overview of your book series? Because I'm curious. You just had that book come out. Like, what is it about?
Oh, yeah. So it's a fantasy series. It's basically a world that depends on enslaved magical creatures. Basically, they drive its economy. They do a lot of the work.
Got some Fenard going on.
That's it. There's a lot of that, and they also are used to fuel magical spells. Their bodies get chopped up. It's a bit brutal. So this is book 3. There's gladiators. This is where the person who's kind of been the central core of the city, who's been driven from it. This is their journey to try and recover and find redemption, accompanied by a person who is a dog who they don't realize is a person. And then there's dragons.
That's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And then there's dragons.
And dragons.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely, 100% you should read Kat's work. If you have not had the pleasure, we actually were, all of us, blessed, I want to say this is maybe last year now, to be with Kat when LeVar Burton read the short story on stream, as part of the podcast, and we were able to listen to it, and that was just gorgeous work.
Great.
All of Kat's work will hit you in the gut when you read it in the best kind of way. And
yes,
I continue to be, let me tell you, it is very hard, people, to avoid any kind of imposter syndrome when you've got Carlos on one side and Kat on the other, not to mention the incredibly talented people on either end of them too. But I mean, just as authors, just being like, and there's Greg, and oh, well, how about this guy who won these awards, and how about Kat who won these, So anyway, it is quite something, but I'm very fortunate to be with gifted people like this. So thank you, Kat. As always, great pleasure to have Kat with us. And also a great pleasure to have the aforementioned person who, as we discussed before, would be the life of the party, even with a washboard. None of you know what that means, and if you weren't in the green room, you won't know, and I'm sorry. But I am very not sorry to have Carlos with us, Carlos Hernandez, as always. So same question, Carlos. How are you feeling about, the chances of replicating the success of this team donation-wise? And then B, how is life in universe for you? And then C, who are you playing? What are your thoughts?
So in terms of thoughts, the first thing I wanted to say is, how do you get notifications when somebody has made a donation?
So you do ! donated space and then whatever the number is in the chat.
So let's say that I just donated $500, which I did. I would put...
So then,
I would put...
Well played, Carlos.
Look, someone has just laid it down. Well played. Oh my God, dude.
500?
Wow.
Like
Look at that.
That didn't seem
It's
to work.
donated. It's DONAT. Yeah, donated.
Oh, donated. Okay.
I love too how Hillness pushed you on this, because what happened last year, chat, is that Hillness and Carlos went back and forth for a while battling it out, and Hillness was like, "Oh, really? Well, take this," and everything. So, dang. Wow, that is amazing. Thank you, Carlos.
I love
so
ArvCon. I love
much,
that you
dude.
do this so much. I feel like, the
Wow.
many reasons I love to play on this channel is because there's just so many good people who are doing work like this. So I'm very grateful to be here, and I will be writing this off at the end of the year, so don't worry about me.
Yeah.
With the ukulele in hand.
Very big brain.
$500.
And I think Trippett just said you're just buying your own victory.
Yeah, really,
Hell
like
yeah.
somewhere
It's the game.
somewhere
The game is
above, like,
money.
yeah, like
I'm gonna
D&D
win.
with GOG, they were all like, I just felt something, a great disturbance in the force, like somewhere, That's amazing, dude. Thank you so
my
much.
I also
God.
want to see, like, if people can see, like, my favorite pen is this pen that I got last year. This is what I got
Yep.
for my donation. I use it all the time, and I love this thing, and I bring it to do signings
that
and
is
things
a
like that.
professorial pen.
Yeah, it's very so steampunky, delicious, and it's like, it's great. I love it. So I love the ArvCon prize. Like, I get shit. I write this off. It's like I'm making money. That's how this works. So you all have to donate. This is like better than Bitcoin. That's what I'm telling
I
you.
was just gonna say, this is becoming a YouTuber
coins.
video, like how to actually make money as an author. Write off everything. Write off everything.
Oh my God.
Oh man, seriously, thank you so much. That's amazing. Yeah, this team raised 2,000, and Carlos just dropped the hammer, 700. Wow. So here we go, chat. So we have 7 giveaways now that you folks have to do, and we haven't even gotten out of the introductions. Thank you, Carlos, so much again. Who are you playing? And also, Carlos takes the very strong lead right now for the. I'm going to take it down since I don't think you've seen it, Carlos. Right now, we're looking at.
Wow.
This
What is it?
is going to the top donator. The colors are going to be weird, but this picture from Rock God, which is literally a
That is
picture over
smooth.
the harbor in, I believe it is, Rock God's got to help me out. Anyway, in Massachusetts, fireworks over this, and this is such a good print that on the bottom left there's a Fairfield Inn which bought this and blew it up. There's a massive print of it in their lobby. It's so good.
Wow.
And he put this on this metal type, so it's literally you get it and hang it. Like it's just
Look
it's
how
already done
awesome
for
that is.
So right now Carlos is the leader out of the gate. So I'm just be aware that Carlos has staked his claim. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it. So, as I put that back, please tell the people who you're playing and stuff.
So, but first you're going to ask me how I'm doing. I'm fine. Okay, so now I am playing ludicrously well.
Oh my God.
My engineer / medic / catman / Velma.
I love this. I'll just start since Arv is putting that up. Hello, everyone. I'm Zach. I don't know how to top any of that, and I don't just mean Carlos. I also mean Kat and Johnny. But I'm just a dude here on the internet. You can't see it, Arv. I started my introduction because you were too busy putting up your thing.
Sorry.
I am wearing a shirt today that probably from your distance just looks like a bunch of like white specks or stuff.
Is that the
But
galaxy?
they're actually small stars.
Oh, clever.
And you know
Oh.
why?
Well done.
It's because tonight on Esper Genesis, I'm playing Cosmoritis, a Bellare hunter / specialist. And Bellares are made of stars, just like all of us, but I'm less condensed than you are, which makes me better. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then of course, because I know Arv is going to mention it, Sunday as a part of ArvCon, I also love ArvCon. I think this is the only Twitch stream that I know that regularly has a named, sponsored, cool charity event with the full bells and whistles and everything, and a concert which I'm going to be a part of. So
Yeah.
on Sunday, I'm a part of the roster of people that will be doing a performance, and the performances that I like to do very heavily improv on this beautiful mallet instrument back here, and probably with a bit of interaction with the viewers rather than just sitting and watching almost like a recorded performance for some time. I got to do something with you guys, so
Absolutely.
that's going to be really cool. And that's me. I am so Uh-oh.
That's
Illness.
so
Just-
freaking funny. So Hillness drops $501.
$1.
The price is right.
Yes.
Hillness, you are really awesome,
Oh
dude.
my gosh.
Thank
So
you
funny.
so much. Holy
That's
crap.
hilarious.
1201. This team is setting a
And
serious
I like how he
bar.
says, totally for
Wow.
the charity.
Holy crap. Yeah,
Illness,
exactly.
I got
Totally
you,
for the
you
charity.
know?
Hillness is now in the lead. That means
Yep.
that, wow.
That's
all right.
amazing.
That means, though, I just want to point out, so Hillness
That
is in the
does-
lead for that.
yeah.
You would still get this, Carlos. I mean, it is Prince Justin's amazing, you can't really see it because the light, this
Ooh,
amazing
look at
thing,
that.
this gorgeous print of this sunset over a mountain range. It is beautiful. It can be placed on your desk. So I'm just letting everybody know that if you
That's
lose
amazing.
out by $1, listen, it's just
Yeah.
fine.
See,
Thank you so
all
much,
Carlos
Hillness.
has
Holy
to do
crap,
is just
dude.
drop $2.
That
and
is
you're
so
back.
so
You know.
nice of you, dude. Like,
I like how Carlos slammed down the hammer, this gigantic hammer, and then Hillness just slams down almost an equally large hammer, just 1 inch taller. Just like, they're right next to each other.
oh man, that's
But
real.
anyway,
Price is Right
thank
rules.
you, Hillness.
Yes, exactly.
And
Thanks
that's
so
all
much,
for
dude.
me. I'm excited to play.
Crap, are we even playing something? Like I got to the introduction. It's like $1,200. All right. Thank you so much. So we have right now 12 giveaways. And I also last thing I want to say.
Two
To
hammer
do
strikes from
12
Cat.
giveaways
And
to
that's
do
right,
in
and
this stream.
That's right.
Alone?
Well, I mean, as soon as the mods can do them. And yeah, just in this stream alone. And I also want to say very quickly,
Wow.
I talked to the mods on Monday. We had a meeting preparing for this. And I said, last year there were a lot of giveaways and I don't want to make this thing, feel too much. And every one of them was like, no, we want to do as many giveaways as possible to build momentum. We don't care how much work it is. So again, I'm over the moon amazed by my mods. So thank you so much for doing it. You will see the
Thank you,
giveaways are
mods.
beginning. JReb, as you could see, for every 100, we lock another set of giveaways. Thank you, Hillness. Thank you, Zach. Thank you also to my players for dealing with the disruption of constant donations. But I mean, it is obviously for the best possible
It
cause.
was fun.
I am in a wonderful mood
Yeah.
already, and thank you so much to everybody. To Kanji, good to see you, man. All right, and in case you want to be a part of it, by the way, and then I'm going to shut up and play, you can do this. That will show you how to do it. If you go over there, there's a donate link at the bottom. This was set up for us, specifically for our event by Damon Runyon this year, and I do want to thank Megan and Madeline. I have to get the last names for tomorrow. That were the social media, basically the director of sort of marketing and public relations and so forth for Damon Runyon, and the social
Good for
mean
them.
manager.
They
because both
deserve
of
a
them,
raise.
They really did an amazing job this year in supporting us, and I'm so grateful. And and the giveaway word is $1 more. So if you type in $1 more, you will get this first prize pack. This is hilarious. Thank you very much to everyone who's a part of this. All right, thank you so much, players, for your patience. Let's get to it, because we got 7 weeks to catch up on, folks. Let me fire up some music, and let's go with.
Of course, there's always something.
Let's go with
As you start putting together this stuff. I haven't opened Roll20 yet. That
All
would
right,
be helpful.
ominous music. Let's fire up this way with a little bit of ethereal plane. In our last session, the crew has done a number of things, but the crew in particular has been dealing with two major threats. The first is the threat of the Shadow Technocracy, which is an organization which the party has finally discovered is attempting to essentially bring an end to organic life as we know it in the Silrain arc by transforming it into some kind of synthetic network, essentially using organic bodies to be linked together for the nefarious purposes of the deeply dogmatic, devoted, cult-like group known as the Shadow Technocracy. In the past, the Shadow Technocracy has done this in the shadows and has been quiet about it, but has become more and more open, in part because of their alliance with a rogue organization within the massive company known as Zephyr Corps. Zephyr Corporation has a new group called Stormdark, which is apparently a rogue faction that has been helping the Shadow Technocracy in this goal to work together. In the process of doing this, they have had effects on many individuals in the Silrain arc, including Ludicus Sleepwell's own father, who has apparently been transformed by them into some strange synthetic beast, which is particularly terrible for a creature that was against all technology, which is why Sleepwell left in the first place. And so the Shadow Technocracy is threat number one. Threat number two, though, is something which the Shadow Technocracy Technocracy helped create. And that is the Long Winter, an incredibly advanced and networked AI, which the party has been dealing with now for many, many sessions. The party has destroyed part of it, but not all of it. Two components of it remain. One component of it is actually out there in the galaxy, psychotic and savage and desperate to do what it can to, as the saying goes, just watch the world, or in this case, the galaxy burn. It is desperate to find, track down, and destroy the party out of vengeance for what it sees as the party's meddling in its affairs. Moreover, it also, of course, is seeking out its other part, the last component of the Long Winter, which seems to be somewhat the compassionate, functional side, the side that perhaps could have been. That side currently resides within the body of one Cosmoritis, the Bellari hunter, and that one has been trying to do what it can to hold out the constant attacks in cyberspace and in the networked world on the party and on the things that they fly. One of those networked things, of course, is the Hyperlance, the extraordinarily advanced ship on which the party is now traveling. What the party has discovered over time is that there is something strange about the Hyperlance, some connection between the Hyperlance's AI and someone like Petra Sinus, for example, who seem to have a particular bond with it. What has been discovered, apparently, is that the bond that is between Petra is that the same kind of synthesis, network synthesis that animates the Hyperlance was there at the forming of Petra as an Ashenforged. Hence the connection between the Hyperlance and Petra directly. The Hyperlance is essentially a living thing, a living being, a living creature. This caused no end of consternation for Sleepwell, who wanted to free it and set it free. Others were a little bit more thinking in practical terms, like we're in the middle of space, what do we do about this? And Sleepwell acknowledged that this was something that needed to be considered, but needed to figure out how to somehow preserve the agency and will of something like the Hyperlance while still doing what needs to be done to stop the Shadow Technocracy. The party also was aided in this regard by the creature known as Alfred. Several networked creatures of extraordinary sophistication called the Alfreds exist throughout the Silrain arc, but the Alfred that they have been using here, that they're connected to, is one that was created by the actual person who formed all of them, one named Prasan. Prasan was the one responsible for actually making the Alfreds and programming them. And when the party managed to go to the distant planet of Baziu, I believe, and came to this distant planet. Bakiu, sorry. When they came, see, I told you this would be happening. The Bakiu. Bakiu. So when they landed on this distant planet, they found, besides some dangerous creatures that they barely escaped, the last remaining sort of will and testament, you might almost say, of the now dead Prasan. And that is the program chip that they gave plus Alfred. Once that chip was placed into Alfred, Alfred had all of the remaining wisdom, knowledge, and even to a certain degree aspects of the personality of Prasan within itself. And so it, sort of channeling both itself and Prasan, has been helping the party in doing this. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the Arvanauts. Charlie B. Whiskey. So that is what the party has done. And in the very end of our last session, the party, which is currently on its way to meet up with a ship, with a pilot known as Rufus Drake, piloting a ship called the Rafaela. That ship is going to be what they use to actually go to the location of the secret base of Stormdark, known as Stormfall, in which the party hopes it will be able to use the Hyperlance and or the networked intelligence known as Alfred to be able to open that base, get inside, find the missing Bliss Larkham, a character they've run into before in the Bastion, find the missing agent of Arisia, who supposedly disappeared with Bliss Larkham, and perhaps bring a final end to Laris Baladin, who is one of the people that is the heads or one of the higher-ups in the Shadow Technocracy and in the rogue faction of Zephyr Corps, Stormdark. And so as I hand things back over to the party, at the end of their last session, Aramis had a long discussion with the Alfred/Prasan, in which there was the suggestion that the Prasan had a chance, despite its doubts about itself, to do something worthy to live up to what its mentor had presented. And with that in mind, I'm going to hand things over to the party. You were about 2 days out from the rendezvous with the Rafaela, so you have about 2 days to decide what you want to do or talk about. Otherwise, I'm happy to jump up to that point, but thus far, you do not seem to have any other pursuits or anything else. You are simply traveling along in the Hyperlance. And so now, with all of that preamble, I will finally hand things over to the party. What would you like to do?
You're muted, Carlos.
I thought you were
Thank
going to
you.
say I was muted, and I was about to throw myself down the stairs. Okay. Please, God, don't make me do that again. Sorry, go on.
I wanted to ask, because just something I'm not quite remembering now. One of the things I was trying to figure out is if the Alfred who had been with us could be helped, by the new Alfred. And we had a discussion where the new Alfred and the old Alfred were talking. And I think the consensus was we could do it now, but it was risky. And I just wanted to confirm that.
That is correct. That was your understanding of it, was that it was risky to do it. The last time that you all met with the good long winter, basically in the mall, you may remember that mall scene.
Oh, right.
It was kind of a scene out of the hell is that Stephen King thing with The Mist? Is it just called The Mist? Outside the mall, there was this sense that there's something coming, trying to slam through metaphorically into the mall, and hasn't been able to do it, and so. These attacks are just constant, right? And so, the sense was you could try it, and it could have some benefits, but there is a risk to it. And a lot of what you're doing is based on trying to stay under the radar, literally and otherwise. So
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I just want to be sure, because that was basically what Sleepo is most concerned with, sort of like the Alfreds in the room right now, and the people who are taking over them or attacking them. So yeah, I mean, I don't have actually any agenda items. I've already built my little constructs, my team of 4 that I can take with me and stuff. So they're ready to rock. And
okay.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Anyone, Petra, Aramis, or Kaz, what are you folks doing, and are there any other preparations that you want to make or things you'd like to do before you arrive?
I have some ideas, or
Okay.
one thing in particular.
I'm fine. I'm just gonna cook. Go ahead.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Part of Aramis and my endeavor, I think it was me and Aramis, me and Sleepwell, I forget, to get the old disc converted into a shield that Petra could use.
That was me also. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. We were in the need of some Sorium-infused Durasteel, and I remember we bounced around the idea of trying to find that last time, and I think we talked at a long length about a variety of options of trying to get it, like contacting some sort of black market dealer or doing something like that. I guess what I'll do as a last-ditch effort before we start this mission is, if I can, get in contact with Rufus Drake, since we're supposed to be meeting him there anyway. And since he's this, Kaz is figuring him out to be this sort of back alley, he knows his way around the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
If he has the type of technology that's going to sneak us into a place like this. So Kaz is going to try to get in contact with him and ask him for a favor of seeing if he can get his hand on any of this material, which is just sort of this unknown item that we haven't been able to get our hands on, or just actual Durasteel that we could then infuse with Sorium.
Right, because
somehow, I don't know.
Well, the one thing I wanted to mention, just as a reminder, and I'm giving this information in part because, as we said, it's been 7 weeks, so I do want to point out one of the things that you considered was getting Durasteel and then actually visiting a crucible and seeing about the possibility of infusing it directly there.
Was that the only way of infusing it?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily. There are other ways to do it. You would need to have enough Sorium to make it happen and get access to it. And, it's not like you just walk in and say, like, I got some Durasteel. Can you infuse it? Like, it's not like doesn't work quite that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was another option that existed because you all had bounced around a lot of ideas about where you wanted to go and check out. So you do have 2 days, and depending on the circumstances, you could try to divert somewhere. Probably can't divert to a crucible in time and get back to the rendezvous, but anyway.
I guess this is a bit of an Esper Genesis lore question. Is Sorium sort of like the magic the magic rock of the universe? Isn't it linked to Esper in a way?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So would it be possible for us to take normal Durasteel, which I imagine is easier to find, and instead of doing Sorium infused Durasteel, which Sorium is the physical matter contained cell of Esper power,
right,
if we just tried to infuse the Durasteel directly with Esper, because we're Espers,
right?
I don't know.
Esper does not work that way, though. You can give it certain parts of your bodies can be infused with Esper and can allow you to use various Esper powers, but it very seldom creates anything permanent out of that. The only real exception to that is when you're doing something like one of Sleepwell's constructs, but even there, that is a combination of actual mechanical things that are being put forward, and they themselves don't, I mean, at any time, Sleepwell can end those constructs also, right? Whereas this thing you're infusing, you're creating, to jump out of game for a second, Captain America's shield, and it's not going to vanish when you leave this away. So it doesn't, you can't really, you don't have the power to just be like, bzzz, like Silver Surfer style, and do that. At least not at the moment, although who knows what would happen if you were yourselves as part of the Crucible, using, who knows what could happen if you go to the dragon's graveyard. I'm going to use more metaphors from 80s shows. Just let me know.
We can't really stop there. The only other idea I can think of is we learned that the Hyperlance was in part created with the powers of a crucible, like and rivals. Maybe doesn't rival that power, but is contains very potent powers.
Yes.
So then my next thought is maybe if we found like an empty Sorium cell and then use some of the energy from the Hyperlance to fuel it. But Kaz wouldn't go about doing that, because the other thing we learned last episode is that the Hyperlance is an Ashenforged in its own way, right? We learned that it's basically reformed from a being that used to exist as humanoid.
Right.
So I think Kaz is just going to put this idea to bed for now, and just as a question of that we don't have enough time to stop to get this properly made in the 2 days that we're heading to this planet. So other than that, I got nothing. Kaz is gonna go through a firearm cleaning montage of disassembling his sniper and parts of his suit and going and cleaning everything. But that's all I got.
Okay. At some point, do you go like this with a bandana around your head? I just want
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure.
Yep.
Okay. And just one quick note. Definitely feel free. That none of that is meant to be discouraging in doing it. There's definitely ways to do it. It's just a matter of thinking about balancing it with time and all that other stuff. So
Exactly.
Yeah. So
place we got to go is big place.
Yeah.
Another time.
Yeah. Okay. So Petra's doing a lot of cooking, I believe is what Petra said. Sleepwell, you're already doing your thing. So Aramis, anything else that you want to be doing or not?
Aramis is trying to figure out why he's still not drinking. And that's so the conversation was there was also a conversation last time about sort of agency, and the agency not only of the Alfreds but also of the Hyperlance.
Yeah.
And so there's this inner dialogue going on inside of Aramis about the situation and questioning, things. So Aramis is just contemplating and basically taking the time.
Okay. So with all of that noted, The crew, even you can tell, of the Hyperlance is on edge. You have not told the crew absolutely everything, and certainly the ones who do know, like Rona and people like that, have been careful not to just start like, well, everyone, we're going on what could quite possibly be a suicide mission, but nonetheless, the crew feels it and has moved around, and there's a sense in the ship of people being on edge, which is why it's probably a little bit surprising. I would say on the morning of the third day, you're supposed to encounter them in a couple of days, in the morning of the third day, when I would say, I think it's probably Aramis and Petra would be on the bridge at this moment. The morning of the third day, when the speaker kind of crackles into life, and you hear Hyperlance, and there's some static interference, but something is obviously trying to contact the Hyperlance.
Hyperlance, can you make the signal better?
And so there's a pause as the Hyperlance
Computer
says,
amplify.
Well, Hyperlance says, just one moment, I need to get my echo machine. Because I totally was ready for it. Hey, what's up, Burner? Hello, Club Penguin. Welcome, everybody.
Arvwin and his
Greg, it's not like you're running an
All right, here we
entire
go.
operation.
Hey, listen. All right.
Ooh, I'm listening.
So the Hyperlance responds and says, the signal is weak, but I will do what I can. One thing that I should mention to all of you is that since the encounter with the more recent encounter with Petra and with all of you meeting in the mall, so to speak, the Hyperlance's voice that typically was reserved only for Petra in those direct connections has come through when you have asked the ship things. So Sleepwell, you had that conversation with the Hyperlance and so forth. The Hyperlance has started to do more of its echoey kind of, for want of a better term, personality, just in the general speaking term. And so it says, it is difficult to get a fix directly. The seems to be coming from something small, and wait, I'm getting a signal now. And then there's a pause, and then the Hyperlance says, this is odd. I am not sure you want to hear this.
Why don't you think we'd want to hear this?
Well, it's very distorted and strange.
So, like, it's going to damage us?
No.
Or we just are going to be...
No, it's just, I've never heard this before.
It's Carlos's Aztec death whistle.
Just wait till you get a chance to see that, chat, by the way, or hear that. But no, it is not the Aztec death whistle.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and pipe it through, and if we're bleeding out the ears or something, we'll tell you to stop.
Wait, is that for
I don't
me or
have
the
ears.
Hyperlance?
That's the Hyperlance.
Definitely not for you.
Carlos is like, what? Oh. So the Hyperlance says, very well, I will do that. First of all, thank you for the gift sub, Stormbreaker to Dekanjia. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Arvanauts, Dekanjia. Welcome back to the sub community. Thank you, Stormbreaker. It's very kind of you. So the Hyperlance says, stand by. This is what I'm hearing. And then coming over the speaker, you hear, dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 da. She wants a sex machine. And this loud music is blasting. And then you hear this laughter coming. And on the video screen, you can see just a pinpoint of light. And then this thing getting brighter and brighter. And just as it hits the, yeah, you, it flies over the ship. And you feel literally the Hyperlance like kind of rumble slightly as it passes over. And on the thing you hear, well, it's about frelling time you got here. How are ya? And so it like does these multiple passes. This music, by the way, is now audible throughout the entire ship. So you just hear this voice roaring and this loud guitar music basically blasting through the ship.
Do we
Is this-
recognize that voice?
Rufus, what's his face?
You don't recognize the voice, and
Okay.
it may be Rufus. It hasn't identified themselves. This is loud, quite loud music, and not very stealthy.
Aramis rolls lore to make sure he knows exactly who the artist is. Just
All
to,
right.
I rolled a 15.
That's okay. Yeah, you believe, if you're not mistaken. Thank you again, Stormbreaker, for the sub to Key Armor Burner. Thank you. So yeah, you you remember it being, there was something that was often used to describe alternating current, electrical current, back in the, as far as you remember, the late 20th century, and you believe that this is a song by them. For some reason, you remember something about a beret, somebody wearing a beret, but you don't know a lot of details beyond that. But yes, this does sound like that. And as you're sort of realizing this, you hear it coming over the screen. All right, what's it going to take to get someone to get announced on here? Can we get some connections here? You need a ship, I heard. And again, the hyperlance rattles. Now remember, you're in space. For a ship to rattle your ship, like, that's really close that the ship is going. And the hyperlance says, the ship is passing extremely close to the hull.
I'm going to get on the intercom and say, stop getting so close to our ship, you son of a bitch.
Ah, now I know that I've got the right person I'm talking to. You're speaking my language. Sorry, it's just, I was going a little stir crazy. And so then on the vid screen, you see the ship kind of slows down and then comes up. Now, as it gets a little bit larger, now much slower, in the video screen. Thank you once more, Stormbreaker, for the gift sub to Cat Rambo. Thank you for the gift sub, Stormbreaker. Although I would say, although I am very appreciative of these gift subs, anything you can do to support Damon Runyon today is where I'm trying to put people to send their money, because that is the focus of ArvCon. Not that I'm in any way not thanking you for the gift subs. I do appreciate that a great deal. But just in case you're curious, that's what we're focusing on today. So, hey, what's up, Shadow? Good to see you, man. So anyway, as it gets closer, you can see that there's something very odd about this ship. So the ship itself is positioned, as we get a gift sub to Club Penguin Veteran. Thank you, Stormbreaker. As the ship gets closer and closer, you can see that along its sides, first of all, it looks somewhat like a kind of a, almost looks a little bit like, you think they might have called it a biplane in the old days. There's two sets of these wings, which are utterly unnecessary in space, right? And they are swept back slightly from the cylindrical hull. And there's something that's sort of reflecting it, and then you see why. There are lights that have been set up, these sodium lights that have set up to like focus in on this thing on the side. And on the side, you see what looks like, if you're not mistaken, the head of a dragon, which is breathing fire in this very stylized way that's been painted onto the hull. Not particularly well, it must be said, but the light is still shining on it. And as the ship sort of slows down, there's a moment and then it says, well, you look exactly like the Hyperlance. Oh, sorry, he's not got the echo machine, I beg your pardon. Well, it looks exactly like the Hyperlance I was told to expect. I heard that you need a pilot. My name's Rufus Drake. It's about time I saw you folks here. Who's going to come aboard which ship? How are we going to get this party started? And as you sort of try to struggle to form words, he switches the song, and all of a sudden it's, every rose has its thorn, and it's playing that in the background instead.
Is your ship... Oh, please, Captain, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let's have him here rather than one of us go on there.
And just
Does
a
that
quick
make
note:
sense?
Sleepwell and Aramis are not on the bridge right now. Like you can like, yeah, I mean, you could definitely like.
Everyone to the bridge.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could do that. Like, yeah. So,
Everyone to the bridge. You're not going to want to miss this. I suspect you know something's going on already.
Including you, Rufus Drake, to the bridge.
and so there's a pause, and then, all right, you want me to head over there? No problem. I'm just gonna take a little ship over. I'm gonna leave my ship here. I wouldn't want to get too close to you. You know what I mean? And so then there's kind of a, the vid screen winks out, and you see then there's the hyperlance says, a small pod has detached from the ship and is heading for our loading dock. Shall I permit it?
Fire it will. No, I'm not even there. So
Yeah.
I was just about to say the same thing. Of course, jokingly.
Yes, but let's send at least one person down to meet them.
Actually, why don't I just sort of like appear right when you're sort of like saying that, and Ludicrous looks at you with his, companion of headless androids and says, "Why don't I take the boys down and we'll go and escort them."
I like that. Go for it. Nothing
Okay.
like a reception of headless robots to really say,
Exactly.
I don't
I
know.
thought there was only one headless robot.
One headless robot.
No, I had to remake them. I'm constantly tinkering with the design, and I'm thinking more and more that this crew benefits from headless robots.
I want to just pause quickly and say thank you to Stormbreaker for the $25 donation to the Damon Rennie Cancer Research Foundation.
Right.
1226. Thank you
My
very
man.
much, Stormbreaker. Let's keep it up, folks. 1226 is an amazing opening gambit. Like, seriously. So thank you. Let's keep it up. Thank you so much, Stormbreaker. I appreciate it, man, very much. Okay. So you're heading over there. Petra and Aramis and Kaz, I know you said you're sending Sleepwell with the 4 headless robots. Are all of you staying on the bridge while Sleepwell does this? And are you monitoring, or how are you wanting to do that?
Oh hell no! Aramis is going along just to have
Okay.
a good time with this. This is Aramis's kind of people. So
Okay.
Kaz will also join, but he'll quietly approach from the back and will sort of be in the back of the group.
Okay. Petra, you staying on the bridge or not then?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the bridge because I don't like leaving the bridge unattended when there's other people on our ship. So,
Okay. And
yeah.
Rona, by this point, has arrived and kind of is shaking her head and just says, I was hoping that bastard was going to make something other than his usual entrance. I deal with children. I just want to point out, we all work with literal children. That's what this is. And she kind of...
Do you have a history with this guy, Rona?
Everybody in this corner of the galaxy has a history with Rufus Drake. Forget it. And just kind of sinks down wearily in her seat. And she says, he's a great pilot, but he's a lot. And she just sort of shakes her head again, but he's a great pilot.
Okay.
And kind of sighs. And at this point, Sleepwell, you've reached the airlock. There is a little chunk of the ship slightly moves. The hyperlance does as the pod docks. And then the door opens. The outer door opens. And
The door opens itself. I don't have to open it.
the outer door. Well, because the outer door, just the outer door, not the inner door that leads to the rest of it. So just the outer door, and then the inside pressurizes and all that sort of thing. The outer door is now closed. So now it's up to you as to your letting in or not.
So basically, I have the constructs form, a line there, and they're going to take out their energy pistols, and they're going to point them sort of like this way, as if to give sort of like a 21 gun kind of like salute to the entrance there. I'm going to stand in the at ease position, ready to receive, and then I will command the hyperlance. Forgive me, scratch that. I'm going to ask the hyperlance politely if it will be so kind, as if to open the door for Rufus.
Sleepwell, what's up with the guns?
I have a plan.
No, threats. come in all
No,
forms.
it's no threat. This is a formal.
Aren't you somebody
military
who's like
operation.
live and let live? Military in my butt. This,
Trust me. I got this.
if this goes wrong, I'll tell it. I told
Yeah,
you so.
yeah, okay.
All right.
And so now the door opens or slides open, or you allow it to, Sleepwell?
Oh yes.
Okay. So
just sort of like standing very erect in a way that he's maybe never stood before in his life, you know.
prepared in a military fashion.
Right.
Congratulations, Prince Justin, for winning the first giveaway. Congrats, Prince Justin.
All right.
Good stuff. The first of 12, so 11 more to go. Thank you for being a part of that, Prince Justin. All right, so the door slides open, and you Sleepwell and Aramis both have, of course, been, and Kaz, you're in the back watching this. So you've seen, I guess all of you have seen this because you're watching on the vid screen, Petra. So all of you have seen many strange things in your travels, right? Many odd things. But if you could combine a lot of those things together, you might end up with some version of this person standing before you. This very large, obviously human character is standing in front of you. He is, first of all, stopping to congratulate and thank Shadow Mage, who has donated $50 to the Demon Running Kids Region Foundation. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shadow Mage. Thank you, dude.
Thank you
so much for this for the amazing splash screen as well. We are up to 1276 people. Let us keep it up. Thank you so much, Shadow. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you. Okay. So the door opens, and this person, just looking up, first of all, at the bottom of the, just sort of staring at the bottom and then working your way up, are these ridiculously impractical fur boots. They look to be this kind of dark, indeterminate animal fur of some kind, although it could also be faux fur because there's lots of patches of it that are out, in some spots, that are leading up to a pair of leather pants that are scored and dirty and kind of, they're not ripped, but they are very well worn, you might say. That leads to what looks like the equivalent of, for want of a better term, a fanny pack. Like, there's basically a fanny pack around this person's belt. On one side, there is what looks like I happen to have a visual cue. Something like this, some big flask, which is inside, the belt of this person. And then on the other side is this fanny pack. And there are multiple little, unknown what they are. They look like kind of widgets and tchotchke tools, like screwdrivers and wrenches and like all of this stuff. And also and this fanny pack that I mentioned before, all around the belt. As you keep moving up, then you move into the leather tunic, I guess you might say, the leather jacket, really, but it's kind of a weird, it's a leather jacket over a tunic. Let's put it that way. The jacket itself is worn, but this one also has multiple patches. There are all these strange, and it looks like these patches have been hand sewn on or something. They look like all these patches that have like red skulls, and then there's flowers, and then you see what looks like some like zombie creature standing next to like a torture device, and then there's like you see the words AC and a lightning bolt and DC, and you see all of these patches up and down the sleeves of this person, all working up to the face of this individual, who incidentally stands about 6 feet, maybe tall and wide. Big dude is standing there, and has this dark with silver kind of stubbled through it beard, half shaven, and in his mouth, which is in a grin looking at you, is this large, well-chewed, unlit cigar, which leads up to the rest of the face of this person. And the last thing are a set of goggles that are on his head. And did I mention that he's carrying in his arms a laser rifle? And he has a big smile on his face. And he says, I assume you're the welcoming committee. It's good to see you all. I like what you've done with these. Hello, lads. Let's see. That's Dopey, Sneezy. And he starts pointing out the 4 ones, he says. And you must be the crew of the Hyperlance. I have heard a lot about you. And, well, it's good to see you. So where's the music?
Yeah,
Anything?
so sleep well. I'm saying this out loud because it might not communicate unless I set it up for in a
Sure.
role play kind of sense. But sleep well is going to be extremely grim and silent. So he's going to be trying to play more on the reputation of the Valna than what
Gotcha.
how he normally carries himself.
Gotcha.
And so he's just standing at attention, completely unmoved by these kinds of antics, and he's going to stare a long time. And so just to create the effect, I'm going to stare into the camera for 10 seconds.
And he goes, as you're doing this, he's like,
You may have never heard it, but Kaz coughs. He's like,
And Aramis is just has a shit-eating grin on his face and is just watching the kid do his thing.
and he says,
And
and he is looking right at you, Sleepwell, with a big smile. Now I want to point out, this does not seem to you like your pathetic smile. This seems like his perpetual state. It's like,
right. And so still sort of like in that at ease position, hands behind the back, and very slowly walking toward him. Sleep well, just kind of with a middle distance gaze, says, "There's a story my people tell of a man who smiled, a little like you're smiling now, and he smiled so long and so far that, well, the gods, they became jealous of his smile and the brightness that he brought to the world. And so they took him up into heaven and they made him a star. And now he became one of the 3 sons of Valna. And you know, like I'm purposely like going slowly and like,
Right.
and he's kind of like strolling around him. And he's like, and became one of the 3 sons. But once he rose up there and he tried to compete with the celestial God-blessed stars of yore, he seemed diminished and not nearly as bright as he once did. And then I'm just, you know, I won't duplicate it again, but it stares for another like 8 seconds.
so he waits the whole 8 seconds, and then he's like, "Is that a metaphor? I like metaphors. That's good. That's good. I like that meaning. Yeah, that's good stuff. I've heard good things about the Valna, you know. I've heard that you're great storytellers. And listen, if I'm one of your sons, or whatever that story you just talked about meant, that's great. All right." And he so kind of looks over and he says, "Now you do more than just tell stories around here. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. These 2, are they supposed to like push a button to make you tell another one, or how's this work? You 2 over there," and he points at you, Aramis. He's like, "You seem to know this person pretty well. This guy's got it going on. Is he your leader? Maybe he's the cat." And he points back at you, Sleepwell. "Maybe you're the captain, and that's, if so, that's great. You know, I'm happy to meet you, Captain. But what are these other people? Are they all serve you? Like, is he a moon in this story?" And he points over at Aramis.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go for it.
I was gonna say, like, all this time, like, you know, I've just been sort of like inching closer to his face, you know, and perhaps a slight snarl has emerged from the canines of Ludoku as he gets just slightly closer, saying absolutely nothing.
And he says,
You'll have to excuse Sleepwell. He's kind of still going through puberty.
What? And he sort of looks down. He says, "Wow, he looks pretty impressive. You know, I wouldn't want to mess with a Valna. That's, I did once, and it was unfortunate for everybody. I mean, in fairness, the Valna, you know, didn't understand the true worth of an item, let's say. And they double-crossed me, and it was a long story. But I'm sure that's not going to happen here. And I'm sorry if I created any offense. I just, I always
You
carry this
created a
with me."
fence.
Oh, okay. Well,
Sleepwell,
Came on board wielding a rifle.
oh, this?
In no part of the Soul Rain arc is that okay.
Oh. Oh, well, sorry. Perhaps there's just sort of a misunderstanding. So what he does is he has the rifle, right? And then he taps it on the ground, and immediately you see it shimmer, and he's now holding what looks like a 6-stringed instrument. And on the edges of this instrument are these jagged points all the way up. And he says, see, I like to use the rifle just in case people get confused. But the reality is I'm not much of a fighter. I'm much more of a... And he hits this chord, a musician. Well, really what I am is a pilot. And just so we're clear, I'm the best Frelling pilot you've ever met. But, sorry about the gun. Would you like to try it? And he holds over the guitar to you, Sleepwell.
So, with a look of infinite disdain,
Yeah.
A quick about face, all 4 of the constructs follow also in lockstep. And he's like, he just like walks away. Sleeper walks away, and he basically moves over to where Kaz is standing, turns back around, about face again, and all 4 of the constructs and Sleeple in the middle, they're just sort of like facing him, and they all have their arms behind their backs now.
So he doesn't come from the cooperative, right? I mean, the Valna, is he like military? He seems military. Is he military? And he's saying this now, Aramis, to you, and he says, and then you, whoa, and he catches sight of you, Kaz. He's like, oh, a Bellari. Oh, this you people are more happening than I thought. Have you got a Bellari with you? Oh my goodness. No wonder. So let me see if I get the picture. So the military guy is telling you what to do, looking at you, Aramis, and then you both somehow co-opted a Bellari in your service? Boy, that's crazy stuff. Is that what happened? And he looks at you, Aramis, for this.
Aramis walks forward, offers a hand, and says, "The name's Aramis. Do you drink?"
Do I drink? And immediately his hand goes down. Guitar slides around, and you see now that it's attached by a strap to his back. And out comes this, and he's just like, the question is when, and yeah, you hear the sound of literally like a sound of a gun being cocked, but it's a flask. He's like, question is when I don't drink, my friend.
As long as you don't drink at the most important moments, we're going to be good. But let me buy you a drink and actually introduce you to our actual captain. And I put my arm around him, and I just begin to escort him past Sleepwell and head towards the bridge.
As he does this, he like looks with a big smile at Sleepwell. I was like, that's good stuff. That's I like the formation work. You do any drilling? As he like goes past you. And then he comes to you as you're walking along, and he says, as you pass, so I assume you bring him also, Aramis, past Kaz? Is that right? And so you pass by, and he's just like, hey, listen, what's the Bellari like? I hear really interesting things about him. I've heard they've got this. They have some instrument that they play, but I don't. And so you can kind of, he's like talking to you about this as it passes away. So at a certain moment, Aramis is gone with him up to the bridge, and Sleepwell, you're just standing there with the 4 constructs and Kaz.
Kaz turns to Sleepwell and says curtly, "What was with all the pomp and circumstance? That was unusual."
Wait, so are they out of range now?
Yes, unless you follow them, I'm assuming that they're...
Oh, yeah, we're going to follow back, but we'll hang back a little bit so I can tell how it's like, basically, I wanted to make Aramis his friend, so I'm doing a good cop, bad cop kind of thing. But also, we don't know anything about this guy, right? So, I want him to be a little bit weirded out by us. Basically, weird is better than scary.
I can get behind that. Maybe next time that explanation may be put in front of what you're doing.
You wouldn't have thought it was weird then. See, you all being freaked out helped.
You are too smart for your own good, Sleepwell. I hate that I have to agree with you. All right, let's go.
I want to point out the second giveaway is being done with the giveaway word pilot bard. I just want to point out that that's the giveaway. Thank you,
Pilot
Trip, for the
bard.
giveaway word. Very good stuff.
Frickin' bard.
Freaking bard. Okay, so Petra, there's the bridge door slides open, and there's Aramis with the person I've previously described, who is holding what looks like a 6-stringed instrument of some kind behind his back and has a flask, a big one, in his hand. And he says, this is the bridge of the best ship in the second best ship. My ship is the best ship, but it's the second best ship in the Silverian Arc. This is impressive. Oh, hello, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I said hello before outside, in the ship, I mean. Rufus Drake, you must be, one of you, he points to you and Rona, Petra, one of you must be the pilot or the captain. Well, you tell me. I should shut up and just let you talk. You tell me, Aramis.
Hold on, Rufus. Let me introduce you. This is actually our captain.
Aye. And he takes a drink.
And looks to Aramis looks to Petra and says, I think Sleeple needs a cat nap. He's doing.
I'm coming in right now. And
some silly.
I would die for this, Captain.
You really say that?
Yeah, I really just say that out loud, and all 4 of the constructs salute.
And he's go ahead, Kaz. Yeah.
Kaz would have been. I was just about to say Kaz is at this point is cringing so hard that he is trying to blend in with Sleepwell's constructs. So instinctively, also salutes to succeed at that endeavor. And then. Yeah, Kaz is like before. He is as far away from the bridge. He's like at the doorway and not going in.
Okay. He says to you, Petra, so he just lowers his voice, and Aramis, you can hear this too, and actually all of you can hear it, despite the fact that he's like, I think some of your crew, Captain, don't take this the wrong way. They seem really dedicated. They're a little tightly wound, just a bit like a rubber, a band.
Drink a little bit more, it'll help.
Yeah, it's like a guitar string. It's over to, it's a bit, just something to think about. But it's great to, hi. So
I can tell you're nice and loosely wound.
Oh, well, loose, yes. Wound, depends on who you talk to. But I'm glad to meet you.
You say you're a pilot. You say you're the best pilot. You come with any credentials?
I come with nothing but credentials. Mostly, I'm the one who's responsible for having made jumps multiple times. I've been chased by everything from the Lorendi to the Matakai to everything in between. Never been caught despite all of that. And most people have never heard from me, and that's exactly how I like it. Because, you see, to many people, I don't actually exist. But to the fine people on, let's say, Pelseros, if you need someone who can get you from point A to point B fast and silent, I'm the one you talk to. And in fact, it was Abraxas who let me know about all of you in the first place. I owe him a favor, and that means I owe all of you a favor. And that means that I'm the only crazy son of a bitch who can actually take you to where you need to go. I am going to bring you directly to where you want me to be, and I understand it's going to be hot there. But unlike anyone else you can get, I'm going to get you there alive. And our ships as well. And for the first time, Petra, I just want to point out, he gets really serious when he starts talking about, his, quote, credentials. His smile is still there, but just barely.
I'm going to say fast.
And silent.
Jury's still a bit out on the word silent, because you don't seem to have backed that up so well. But...
Oh, I don't need to be silent with you. I needed to make sure the Hyperlance was the Hyperlance. If you weren't who you were, they would have tried to blow me out of space, and of course I would have escaped them because I am the best, and then I would have found you. But once I saw how you reacted, and once I saw your incredibly dedicated, and he kind of glances at you, Sleepwell, crew, I knew I was dealing with the right people. Not easy to find a ship like the Hyperlance,
they'd die for me, you know.
I'm sure they would. I wouldn't.
At their table to keep a straight face where I am not.
Love it.
He's like, that's
Yeah.
something
Salute
about it."
again.
I'm going to turn and give Aramis a slightly sort of look because, you know, just and then sort of make this gesture. It's just like, this guy talks a lot. And
we're
then
fine.
just, well, perhaps let's show Mr. Rufus to a room where he can have a little bit of refreshment while we confer about our excited impressions of his arrival, perhaps.
I'm happy to do that. It's actually Mr. Drake, but to you, certainly, Captain, it would be Rufus. Rufus, please. To all of you, and then he sees Rona. He's like, oh, I mean, to all of you, but. And he slowly puts his flask down in his belt, and Rona's just kind of staring at him. And he pulls his guitar and around to his hand, and he goes, and he starts whistling, and Rona's just staring at him, and he says, Ma, take these things off of me. I don't need them. And he has this voice that sounds very much like this kind of gritty, and he's actually not bad, singer. And Rona just stares and then stares up at you, Petra, and kind of shrugs. And Rufus sees that and is like, I'm sorry. Perhaps I'm overextending myself, but I couldn't help noticing that a star seems to have entered our chamber. And Rona kind of just shakes her head and, more or less rolls your eyes exactly as you do, Petra. And Rufus sighs and he says, well, worth a try. Anyway, I'm a pilot, and I'll help you as much as I can. Rufus Drake's the name, piloting's my game, and also power chords when needed.
All right, so we'll put him in a chamber with some of the cookies that have recently been produced and however much booze Aramis chooses to give him. And then I would like us to discuss this man and our impressions.
Okay.
And Rona, I would like Rona in on this. I was like, Rona, is that exactly what you expected?
And she says, well, I told you he's hard to explain. Everyone that's ever dealt with him says that he's sort of a loose cannon, except when you put him behind the wheel of a ship. Get a throttle in his hand and he becomes practically one with it, people say. He's better able to maneuver than anybody else out there. And the other big thing is that once he signs on no matter what it takes or what it costs. You just have to put up with him without killing him in the meantime, which, admittedly, is tempting.
Fair enough. Sleep well. I cannot help but notice your demeanor is somewhat different than I would have expected, and I'm just curious what's going on there.
Just trying to throw him off balance. This guy is exactly what Rona says, just completely unpredictable, like the exact opposite, the sort of person that you want in an emergency, and I just want him off balance a little bit so that he's thinking a little harder about what he's doing. Also, I would die for you. I've put myself in danger many times for you, Captain.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm just curious, is Aramis, you're with them, right? Aramis right now, he's by himself in the room, Okay.
Oh, totally.
So at one point, the Hyperlance says, my apologies, Captain, but I thought you'd want to know the person that you've brought on board is currently alternating between playing a very loud, obnoxious sound on his instrument and then drinking some of what Aramis has given him, and then smiling, and then playing another chord. The music is quite, and then it just trails off. Different.
Well, let us know if that pattern changes.
Very well.
Well, my friends, if this guy could back up this sort of bravado, then certainly he's a good pilot. But boy, he's a talker, and words are cheap. I don't know.
I think maybe it's because he's not in front of a pilot's console. That's where we need to keep him.
Should we put him in the pilot's console, make him do something?
Well, I think that's what we need to figure out. I think the plan was, as we were heading toward the base, that we were going to use some of his technology, because
that's right.
Apparently this base can detect ships coming into orbit or coming near it or something. And he has a certain sort of technology on his ship that would cloak our ship using like deceptive, it makes it look like it's multiple ships or like a fleet or something.
Okay.
Something like that. I think that's the
Well,
plan. Hey, where's
get him.
where's Abraxas?
Where is Abraxas?
Abraxas, I believe, is back on Pelseros, if I'm not mistaken. I think Abraxas stayed there.
Thought he came with
Rona's
us.
with you.
Not Abraxas.
I
Yeah,
thought
I don't-
Abraxas came with us, actually.
Yeah, because wasn't he with us during the dream sequence as well?
Yeah.
Well, but that because
But he
that's
didn't leave with
virtual. I mean, that's he's able to be linked in on that. I have to double check again. I apologize to 7 weeks if he's here, but I thought that he was back on Pelseros.
There was a lot of interaction when we were back on Pelseros, but he definitely stayed at Pelseros, and then what's his name basically phoned him in.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole idea with the mall scene, because the mall scene was happening in essentially cyberspace, right? So,
Yep.
I mean, it was in your body, Kaz, but it was in the sort of cyber world.
Okay. All right.
Because he's still got to be managing Pelseros at the moment, so that's why.
Yeah, my main, I guess we just all need to be on the same page for what the mission is. And there were several factors that make it complicated. Basically, we need to get in there, and this is, first of all, one big step in dealing a big blow to the shadow technocracy. The other half of Long Winter might be in there. Laris Baludin, the leader of all that, might be in there. For sure, we know Bliss Larkham should be in there. Apparently, Arisi Angel might also be captured in that base. And so, a part of this is getting in. And I think there were two difficult elements. The first one was just the approach, which is why Abraxas recommended this guy, Mr. Drake. And then the second part was actually physically getting into the base, which is something that we needed Alfred for. And then there was that debate about, you know, there's a chance that if Alfred goes into the system that something could go wrong. But anyway, I think we need to consult with someone who knows the requirements for us approaching the base. And I think that was Abraxas. He was the one who laid out the plan of why we can't just approach with the hyperlance and why we needed to get in contact with Drake in the first place.
Okay.
So unless any of you remember,
He was going to get us in quiet.
I think he was going to point.
He was going to be able to, if I remember correctly, we were going to be facing a swarm, and even the hyperlance wasn't going to be able to subdue or subvert or skirt the swarm, and there was some sort of decoy that was involved in all of this.
Something like that.
So
hey Rona, can we get Abraxas? I've been watching some of Aramis has been recommending these old Terran shows. I'm watching a lot of Who Wants to Be a Zillionaire, something like that. And let's phone a friend. That's something they've been saying on that show. Can we get Abraxas on real quick?
And Rona says, I imagine it's probably going to be pretty late. He might be asleep right now, but I'll wake him up.
Nah, that's fine.
And so, kind of signals him in, and after a few minutes, you get, yeah, Rhoda, what's going on? Everything all right? You got a hold of Drake yet?
He's on the ship. He made his entrance.
I'll bet he did.
You know what I mean?
How did he make it? Directly? Did he crash into you first?
He got very close, but
that's Rufus.
He's on board.
That's Rufus for you. Now, there are others who might try to take advantage of this, so a couple of important things. First of all, when he showed up, did he have a shit-eating grin on his face?
I mean, I'm not sure what would make it shit-eating, but...
Yes, he did.
he says, so he nods, so you hear him. All right, that's a good sign. Was he carrying a rifle or a guitar, or both?
Both.
All right, same. Most important, what was the thing that he kept doing when he was talking to you, besides playing music and chomping on a cigar that he never lights?
He didn't stop.
I mean, besides talking, once in a while he has to stop to do this thing.
Drink.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's Rufus, all right. He's a piece of work, but the thing about him is he's not only a great pilot, but he'd rather pilot a ship into an asteroid than give up on a contract once he's signed it. And that's rare these days. That's why I brought him in. You're going to need someone who's a good pilot and crazy and stupid enough to do what you're all about to do. So I decided to invite him along. He is a strong flavor, so you might want to take it easy. And Rona, try not to punch him. And Rona says, I'm doing what I can, Abraxas. I'm doing what I can. All right, good.
A quick out-of-game question.
Sure.
Where are we in space right now? Like, how far are we from the Stormdark base?
At this point, so the rendezvous was supposed to take place about 2 days away from where the base is going to be. It's supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
So you've got about 2 days. But I mean, you're traveling very slowly towards it because you haven't all decided. Like right now, you're just essentially drifting nearby the ship that you just met, which was his ship that he just flew from. So.
Okay.
We also have an anonymous donation of $100, so we are up to $13.76. Thank you to the anonymous donator. That is amazing. This is great, folks. I am extremely impressed. This means that we are almost up to the $1,800 total for Damon Runyon from 2 years ago. We are, however, still $624 away from the $2,000 that they dropped in the first day. But it was thanks to the generosity of everyone that's here. Please type an ! Donate. Thank you so much. Help us beat the other teams. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the other teams are going to be like, Chad, how could you betray? You must give, all that kind of stuff. But but thank you. We're here for Damon Runyon and also playing these games. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Also, as a quick programming note for chat, we're going to be taking a break here in about 5 minutes, and then we will come back to you on the other side of that with more. But let's continue what we're talking about. Abraxas says that.
So Kaz says to Abraxas, so can you give us the, I think you were helping us analyze the defenses of the Stormwatch base before, and exactly what aspect of Rufus Drake's technology would help us get in? Why is it that we can't just fly the hyperlens down?
I'll tell you exactly why. I did some research in the meantime. First of all, thank you, J-Rab, for the $10 donation. Thank you so much.
Thank
That's
you.
$13.86.
For the Espers, I love that.
For the Espers. Thank you, J-Rab. I like that. Thanks, Jay. So Abraxas says, from what I can tell, a lot of that base is geared directly into essentially track certain kinds of signatures. They have, of course, that group of ships on the outside of the planet circling around it, right, waiting to see if anything conventional comes in. I think their inner defenses are where the cyber stuff comes into play. They're doing some kind of set of advanced firewalls and detection technology that seems to be going out of its way to look to ships that run on stealth signatures, things that wouldn't get picked up by any kind of conventional system. These systems that I'm talking about here are A, enormously expensive, and B, up until I found them, didn't exist. Whatever is there, it's creating these security systems that's making it possible to discover stealth systems. So, the reason that Drake is the one you want, and his ship, the Rafaela, is that that ship is not all that it seems. It changes signatures on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. He can switch it. It can look like a freighter, or a fighter, or a pod, or an advanced starfighter. Hell, he could make it look probably like the Hyperlance if he wanted to. As stealthy as the Hyperlance is for everything else, for this, it's tailor-made to show up on their systems. The Rafaela, though, doesn't exist, and it's never been on the grid. That's what makes him such a good smuggler.
I think I know what's going on there, too. You said that something there must have been programming this. And the Long Winter, the bad Long Winter, probably not only knows who we are, of course, but knows that we're on the Hyperlance. And in the time that it's taken for us to now finally approach that base of operations, it has probably put in every parameter it can to counter our ship. So it makes sense that we want to approach with some other random guy's equipment.
If you're right, Abraxas says, it also means that the Long Winter has reached out to the Shadow Technocracy. If the Shadow Technocracy and or Stormdark knows that the Long Winter is there, knows what it is, and has decided to work with it, that's scary. But there's a scarier version. What if they're not working with it? What if they're working for it?
You're probably right. All right. So we'll consult with Drake then, I think, about the approach. And then wasn't the other aspect that in order to get into the base, we're going to need an Alfred unit?
That's right. Or the Hyperlance, and we've already talked about that.
That's not an easy choice.
Well, you've got... How many Alfreds do you have to choose from? Just take one of them down there.
There's more to it than that. But...
Oh, well...
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll keep looking. My sense is that they're probably not expecting that anyone would be foolish enough to go directly at them except in a stealth-based ship. And maybe that gives you a chance. But these people are dangerous and they adjust quickly. So take it easy, all of you. If you blow up your ship and yourselves, I'll come and beat you up in the afterlife personally.
Good luck getting to the Bellari one.
And so he sort of, you hear a smile in his voice as he says, "Have a good night, Kaz," and clicks off. And you have a chance to all react to that before we take our first break, if you wish to.
Makes sense to me. But I think the question, we're probably going to go with Drake's approach. But now the question is, are we going to use Alfred? And I'm looking, this is still Kaz speaking, I'm looking to you, Sleepwell, because
yeah, and Sleepwell, says, well, the doctor has more or less taken over this Alfred, and so we can ask it directly. Feel like coming on a possibly suicidal mission with us?
You say that like it's a bad thing, Sleepwell.
And so did you ask that, or are you going to ask
I
that?
did ask that.
Okay. So the Prasan Alfred sort of nods slowly and says, "I think it was my purpose. It's what Prasan wanted, and it's what I want, especially if it means that we can do something to save Bliss Larkham. This Rufus fellow, though, you trust him?"
No, hell no. No. We don't trust him. But, our morality's so screwed up right now that we're just going to go do a thing and hope it all turns out all right.
And the Prasan Alfred kind of nods slowly and he says, "That's unconventional. I liked that when I was alive." And I think that's a good spot for us to break for a moment. We are going to take a few minutes to break. Chat, you are watching The Exceptional Crew, which is picked up right where it left off, basically. You wouldn't know that 7 weeks had passed. And that is, of course, Johnnie Pittman, Cat Rambo, Carlos Hernandez, and Zach Clay. We are here for the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. We are almost to $1,400 in literally, what have we been going, 2 hours maybe? That's amazing. So thank you so much. Please type in !donate to find out more. And once you've donated there, come back and type !donated space and then the amount. Other than that, we will be back to you folks in just about 5 minutes for more of Esper Genesis, sponsored by Alligator Alley. Until then, thanks everyone for being here, and hold tight. Okay. All right, welcome back, everybody. As we welcome back, everybody. As I can't help but notice that someone has just added, someone has just donated 1111. I feel like it's someone who has, through the magic of Zoom, completely all reversed themselves, so everyone's in the wrong window. So I'm going to add this 1111 to this. I'm going to once again thank the amazing Carlos Hernandez for that. And let's see, quick math tells me that's $13.97 is our current amount. I love it. Which puts us actual retail price. Is I'm going to see if I can actually fit this inside the box. All right, there we go.
I'm hoping the uneven numbers will annoy people to donate.
That somebody, I think Dragon does that. Somebody always does it. Where always like 0, 1, like So anyway, thank you very much for doing that. And seriously, I'm super, super happy at how well this is let off. Obviously, like a Kickstarter, it's often the case that it's a big surge at the beginning, then it slows down a little bit in the middle, and then there's a big thing at the end. But this is a very big surge to start out, so that's wonderful. So thank you all so very much, and couldn't happen with a nicer group of people or better group of players. And so I'm very happy to have them with me as I move them into the right spots. And there we go. Now everyone is back where they actually belong. Okay. There we go. Some meme lord of a whale donator needs to come and donate $420.69. Yeah, exactly. Blaze it, nice meme and everything. Yes, that's exactly what we should do. Dragon Spear, I do it, which is why I'm looking away from the screen. That's really funny. I can't look. It's too frustrating. Anyway, thank you very much, Carlos. And thank you everyone who's contributed so far. This is a wonderful, really wonderful opening sequence. It's great. Thank you so much. So, and one programming note, chat. We will be here for another 45 minutes with you. And then as I promised, I'm going to let these folks go. I'll stay with you for another couple of minutes as we talk about day 2 of ArvCon, and then we'll go on from there. But this has been a fun session so far. I look forward to more of it. So, all right. So you had just heard from Abraxas. Did I show the grand prizes? I did. I showed all 3 grand prizes, and currently the winner in the clubhouse at the moment is Carlos, is slightly ahead of Hillness, who may or may not have told me secretly that he doubted that, quote, that Carlos would let that stand, and indeed he did not. So Carlos is number 1, Hillness is 2 right now, and 3, I believe, is nonstop with the $100 donation. So. And we also had an anonymous donation for 100, but they're anonymous, so that's so that's the deal with that. Yeah, you were right, Hellness. You were right. Yes. Okay. So the last time we talked to our heroes, they had just finished speaking to Abraxas. So again, just to reset, you are now a couple of days away from this base that you're heading to, which is again where Stormfall supposedly is. Now, the information that you were given originally about this placed it was unclear as to where the base actually was. But as you get closer and closer to it, you note, and I would say probably Petra notes in particular, that you are heading towards this planet. Let me ping it here. Dendis. Now, Dendis is the home planet of the Nindusi, and certainly Dendis is not going to allow ships to be roaming around the outside, so it can't possibly be that planet itself, but it may be near it. And that's interesting because the Nindusi are well known for knowing things before other people do. And, of course, Petra has a very dear friend who may or may not have some Nindusi origins, let's say, and that may be something that Petra may be aware of. But in any case, that's where you seem to be headed. So you can do whatever you like. It's up to you before you arrive. You've just been going in that general direction. I should ask, though, the question is, I should have said this before, I'm sorry. Which ship are you going on? Because both ships can be heading in that direction in parallel. The Rafala, which is the ship of Rufus Drake, and the Hyperlance. But at some point, you'll have to decide when you want one to stay and one to go, and or how you want to approach it. So what's the plan that you want? I will tell you that Rufus is interested in coming in on the Rafala, which is his ship, and which has the benefits that Abraxas told you about before. But obviously, it's up to you as to what you folks want to do.
How many people can fit on the Rafaela? Is it limited?
No, it's a pretty good sized ship. It may even be a little larger than the Hyperlance, although it's a weird ship. It's hard to get a read sometimes on the size because the mass is constantly, like even the Hyperlance is always complaining that it can't really get a fix on the ship, and that may be part of the whole way that it does things. It's kind of all over the place, but it seems big enough. It's bigger on the inside, so to speak. So it should be fine.
I think at least one of us should be on the ship with him, but not all of us.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Does anyone feel like they really want to be the person to accompany him?
I volunteer sleep well.
I volunteer you buddy with him.
I think all of us are going to have to go. Because I thought the whole point is the Hyperlance can't even get near the planet without getting detected.
I think we're taking a ride. I think we're only getting a ride there, yeah.
Okay, and we are all aboard, I guess.
I think maybe we tell the Hyperlance to get as close as possible to the planet without tripping off anything.
Well, although just as a quick reminder, one of the things you had talked about was the idea of using the Hyperlance to draw off the, ships that are circling it that might be expecting the Hyperlance. Like that was that's the whole idea. You had mentioned that. Again, I'm not trying to you decide, but that was.
All right. Can I ask you a question about the so we're supposed to be very close to Dendusi?
Correct. Maybe it looks like it might be one of the moons you're headed for, which would make more sense than Deuce itself. But
what do we know about the current state of I guess the law or the sort of, I mean, are we looking at a situation where this moon is not only a part of or is it claimed territory or claimed planet by body, planetary body by the Dendus government?
Yes, to a degree. So the thing about Dendus is that the Dendus has always been about trying to balance together both tradition and then evolution. So the Dendusi take great pride in mixing in their architecture things that are both part of the planet and seem like they almost grew up organically from the planet and yet are enormously technologically advanced. And everywhere that they colonize, it's very similar to that. That said, though, there are areas where the Dendusi are not, how do I put this, super efficient in how they do this. Like they're always more looking for something which fits their kind of aesthetic philosophy, which is a nice way of saying that although they have spread out to other planets, there's always places that it seems like they haven't gotten to yet. So it's quite possible that the moons would fit this also. Now, they're right on top of the planet, so they had a long time to do it. But it wouldn't surprise you if there were areas that the Dendusi had not gotten to. In terms of the law, I mean, it's Dendusi property. It's their moons. Like, they're definitely not going to be happy about people showing up. And certainly if there's a secret base right under their very nose, they're not going to like it. Maybe that's part of the reason the base is there, because no one would expect it to be sitting around there. But Dendus is an interesting choice, because if they did this around, like, the Lorendi, good luck, right? Because Lorendi would have already known about it and have it surveyed and, taken the base over by now. So it's interesting that they chose this particular area to set their base.
Do we have any sense of what the space navy, the Dendusi military, essentially the space arm of the Dendusi military is what their disposition is? I mean, is it kind of like a free commercial planet where everybody just kind of shows up and, hey, everything's cool? Or is space travel in and, on and off worlds a little bit more regulated?
Strict space travel would definitely be regulated, in particular because they are very protective of their architecture and designs, and so they're very careful about that. But they don't have a militaristic culture, but they have ways of defending themselves and are very anxious to defend not only their natural structures, but the structures that they formed. I would compare them outside of this world to something like a Vulcan, maybe might be a good way to describe it, except with less logic and more aesthetic interest, or in Mass Effect, the Asari, would be another example of those that combine both organic quality and then their own technological advancement. So they are very protective, though, of their infrastructure. I guess they'd put it that way. And so, yeah, they would definitely not want anyone being there that they could find. And they're very advanced technologically. But they're not a heavily militarized planet, having said that.
And what's the name of Rufus's ship again?
The Rafala, which is actually spelled. I will tell you how it's spelled. I know how it's spelled. I'm the GM here. It is the Rafaela, the Rafala. And Rufus tells you that the Rafala has been modified to be less noticeable to people looking for it. And at one point, he's having a conversation with Petra and with Sleepwell in the room, and he says, "Yeah, it's often helpful when some of the cargo is missing paperwork, you know, that sort of thing, stuff that's not there, you know."
Rufus, do you have to fly the Rafala?
I mean, I can fly anything. I'll fly a tin can if you want, but if you want me at my peak Rufus, you might say, then you might want to put me at the wheel of the ship that I designed. Best ship in the galaxy. Nothing against the Hyperlance. It's a great ship. But you put me behind the wheel of the Rafala and, well, you're going to see something you haven't seen in the Silrain Arc, probably ever. Up to you, though.
But you can fly any other ship. And
Sure.
the Rafala can be flown by, and, you know, kind of points to anybody who's potentially, you know,
Well,
skilled at...
I can fly any ship. Whether you can fly the Rafala... And Aramis, I imagine that if you're on the bridge of... I say bridge. The bridge of the Rafala is really... I think the best way to describe it would be... Imagine an incredibly crowded office with books sort of piled over and a ripped leather chair and stuff like this. And somewhere in this mix of books and booze and like shot glasses and like a mixture of goggles, and then there's a bunch of what look like bobbleheads of metal band figures from the late 19th and from the late 20th century. You see a bunch of these bobbleheads and things like that. There's like it's a sticker that reads Aerosmith in front of him, but somewhere in there is this torn up, it looks like a flight throttle, basically like a wheel, and some levers nearby. God only knows what they are actually like. There's a faint smell of cigar smoke around the whole thing, and there's some unrecognizable and uncertain stains on many of on the wheel and stuff. You're not sure what all that's about. So he says, I mean, you could fly it. I don't know where you'd fly it to.
Aramis turns to the rest of the group and says, indulge me for just a second. Turns back to Rufus. So, what do you think the best course of action here is flying into this place?
He says, I've been thinking a little bit about that. So it's like this. They're looking for you, right? They're looking for the Hyperlance. They're not looking for my ship because they don't know it exists. So we go in fast and quiet. The Hyperlance also goes in fast and quiet, exactly what they're expecting. At one point, you do something crazy. I don't know, ping them, yell, play a power chord, something. You let them know the Hyperlance is there. Ships go flying after your super fast ship. Someone you leave on board flies away. The ships go running after them. And we go through the atmosphere and land on the surface of the planet. And while their sensors are trying to figure out whether or not I'm a frelling dust cloud or a freighter or a damn Zamba bird, they'll be not able to stop us by the time we land because they won't even know what the hell we are. We get the ship down there, you figure out a way to get into your base, and when you're ready to leave, we get out of there. What's the term? He thinks about it, and then he reaches over and like moves some like glasses out of the way and presses a button, and you hear "like a bat out of hell" like out of that, just blasting out of nowhere, like it's a soundboard or something. And he nods at you. Oh yeah.
So the hyperlance attracts all the attention, and you take us down on the Rafella.
That's the plan.
How long do you think that the hyperlance could possibly keep them busy before they're going to notice?
According to all of you, the hyperlance is the greatest thing of all creation. I mean, I don't know what the hell you've got in that ship of yours, but the thing spent most of its time telling me things about, can you explain your music to me? And do you? I don't know. I mean, it's either drunk or it's incredible. If it can keep it busy, you'd have to ask the people controlling the hyperlance. But I can tell you that they're real anxious to find that ship. I imagine if it can do the job, they might be chasing after it for a while. It's not like there's 2 hyperlances, and there's ain't 2 of the Rafale either.
So wouldn't you think that it would stick out like a sore thumb?
What, the
to
hyperlance?
them? Yeah.
Sure.
Especially if the greatest pilot in the known sector quadrant in the Ark was piloting it.
You want to put me behind the wheel of that ship? Like I say, you want to put me behind the hyperlance? I mean, I'm happy to take on something like that. I'll fly a used car if I can't have a new one. But the problem is how you're going to deal with this. I mean, I don't know about you, but I learned on a stick shift. Now, none of you know what the hell he's talking about except maybe Aramis. But, he says, all of you are into those automatics, you know what I mean?
Kaz speaks up and says, I have to go with Rufus here, Aramis. I think the hyperlance is going to attract enough attention by itself. And if anything's going to make the crew or the people behind Stormdark want to get the hyperlance, it's going to be us. So if we lay some sort of trap that makes them think that we're on the hyperlance, not him, they're not going to care about who he is.
It's not about caring who he is. It's about keeping them on his tail long enough for us to be able to get in and out without it being a problem.
I think Rona can do that.
I think Rona can do that.
I think Rona can fly his ship, and I think that this guy can keep them going long enough to keep him off of our tail.
Hey, Sleepwell, can I have you make a mechanics check for me, please?
Sure thing. My first die roll of the evening.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We've been super RP tonight.
RP.
RP.
12.
Okay. Something, you don't really get a sense of what it is, but there's something odd about the outside of the Rafale that you noticed when you got in. I mean, you noticed the the detailing of the logo, the flames and everything, and the lights on it and all that. But there's something weird as well about the way the hull is sort of positioned. Something seems unusual about the angle of it, and the angle of the plates around it that you haven't seen before. And you've been on a number of ships, freighters and many other ones.
I'm going to say all of this out loud to
Okay,
everybody.
that's
It's
fine.
like, yeah, I'll just basically to speed things up a little. I'll just sort of like say, in of course this sort of like grim, weird, Vatic, abstruse way. It says, I noticed that your ship isn't put together in 3-dimensional space. What exactly is going on with the Mandelbrot positioning you have going on with those plates on the ship?
And he says, that's something of my own creation. You see, the way that we actually manage it is I managed to change the signature of my ship. You might have heard that before. But when we go in, we go real silent. So you use all these clever things on the hyperlance, right? Redirection systems, bounce kinetics, all that kind of stuff. But the real way to do it is to go silent running. I mean, complete silent running. We go in and play off the gravity. So my sensors up here are designed to pick it up. We take a ballistic path, basically, across the system. We kill the engines and most of the systems on the ship. All you get left is a blip of a blip, and we go sweet and easy right below the atmosphere. Now, as you're all thinking about this, it also occurs to you that what he's basically talking about is somehow threading between gravity wells of planets and systems around there. This is insane from your point of view. Like, any of you have ever done any conventional, like, spaceship flying? This is ridiculous. Like, you can't, but this is what he's arguing is what he does. And according to Rufus, it's those angled plates that make him capable of being able to sense where the wells are. He essentially is skateboarding between these things.
Yeah, no one else is going to be able to fly this ship, I say to Aramis. I think this is a custom job. And honestly, I think Rufus here, he puts on a big show, but I'm getting the sense that he takes one thing seriously. He'll get us to the planet, and then he'll get wasted. As long as he can get us off the planet again, I think he's the one who has to take us down.
See, this is where I disagree. The problem that we're running into here is that the Dendusi have allowed this secret base to occur under their own watch. I mean, it's pretty damn close to their home. So we've got a problem, and we've got no backup and support, and we're going in with one ship, and we're supposed to sneak in and out. And everybody's talking about this like it's a suicide mission. So I just want to up our survivability by putting the best pilot that we
I thought you were
barely
about
have.
to say up our chances of dying, because I don't know. You're right. Until we just got here, considering that this was Denda's space, wasn't even a part of the equation. So that does make it more, that does raise the stakes. I think
they've got guts, by the way. That people on that base couldn't put me on a moon next to one of the major species planets. If the Dendusi find out about it, I mean, their punishments, I hear they put you in a biodome and play calm music for you while you're re-educated for 100 years. Scary.
Well, anyway, my
Seems
point is
deeply troubled.
if the stakes are higher, I think the safer bet would be putting people where they have experience. And Drake has experience on his ship. Rona has experience on ours. You might be right that switching that up, putting Drake behind the Hyperlance will speed it up somehow and get.
Oh no, I'm not talking about speeding it up. I'm talking about slowing it down. I want them to be pursuing him for as long as possible. I want him to take this fleet that's going to be surrounding this base, or whatever is going to be coming off that base. I want him to delete it to the Dendusi, and then I want him to bring back the Hyperlance without it getting caught. And while he's doing that, we slip in and do something that seems relatively straightforward.
Did you just hear how he described the mechanics of his ship, though? I'm not confident. We know that he can do his ship, and we know that Rona can pilot the Hyperlance.
And I'm confident that he can teach her enough to be able to thread the needle long enough for us to be able to do this. She's a skilled pilot. It's not going to be that hard.
Petra, what do you think?
How does Rona feel about that notion would be one of my questions.
And Rona is back on the bridge right now. I know you're all sort of mixed in different spots as far as you are. So Rona kind of patches through, and Rona, on the bridge of the Hyperlance, and Rona says, "Is there a way I can speak to all of you just in private for a minute?" And
Sure.
Rufus says, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm not paying attention." And chomps away as he's piloting it. And he kind of casually flicks a lever, and there's a sheet that comes down, basically like a clear, some kind of plexisteel between where he is and where all of you, those of you on his bridge are, and kind of just closes him off. So he just is like focused. And faintly on the other side of the plexisteel, you hear on the other hand, on the other side of it going, Here I go again on my own. Some music is blasting on the other side of it.
We go and meet with Rona and speak with her
Yeah.
privately.
So Rona says, listen, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but you want me to move that thing? It's practically a soft, easy chair in space with lasers. I don't know what the hell he did on that thing. Did you hear his description? He's asking you to take a ballistic path through gravity wells. That's insane. I don't understand how he does it. Maybe he didn't. That could explain a lot. He could have got into a gravity well, and this is what we have left over. Listen, I know what you mean, Aramis, but... Well, listen, I'll do whatever you want. He can certainly fly the Hyperlance, as complicated as that can be. But flying his ship? It's like chewing his cigar. Ugh.
If we're gonna hire this guy as the best pilot, I think we should trust his judgment in things piloty. And he is saying that he can drive his ship better than anyone else. And I actually would I think it's not a bad idea to let him pilot his own ship, because that ship is funky. And if anybody in us is funky enough to drive a thing like that, it is Rufus. But I think asking Rona to do it is asking a good bit.
Rona, can you create enough of a distraction that you think you can pull away people and get them to follow you and give us a chance to sneak in?
On the Hyperlance? Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll be happy to do it. If it's choice between having to do that and having to go down on that base with all of you folks, I would do anything to help, but I think I'm going to have the easier job, frankly. I don't care what they've got on that thing. They're not going to catch the Hyperlance.
I'd like to keep the Hyperland safe. And to me, that's the way to do it.
It's up to you, though.
I think there's any guarantee of safety, but I'm trying to give us the best possible chance of survival, and right now, that involves.
We are too. Hey, I heard from a wise Valna once that it's never the groups that are evil or, menacing or anything like that have problems for the universe. It's always the groups that are good and trying to do the same thing, but disagree about how to do it.
Mm.
And we all want the same thing. And that's not to say that your idea is a stupid idea. It's not.
Oh no, my idea is pretty bad, but it also increases our level of survival. But all right.
All of us disagree, but
that's okay.
So I think if it's up to the captain, gonna have.
If it's up to me, we're gonna let this guy pilot his own ship. But I am, yes, I think that's what we're gonna do.
And all four constructs salute you. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
So say we all. So say we all.
All right. Well, let's
All
go.
right. But Rona, you're going to take good care of.
Music too long.
That's it. Rona, you're going to take good care of the Hyperlance, right? You're not going to let it fall into anybody else's hands.
No, I'll do what I can to keep it away. I'm going to at least be able to confuse them for a while. No matter how good they are, like I said, I'll keep them safe. But you, all of you, if you go down to that planet and you just be careful. Rufus is the best, but he's a little unpredictable. Just be careful when you're getting down there, that's all.
Okay. Good. Yeah, we'd gotten the idea he was somewhat unpredictable somehow. That's alrighty, my friends. Well, this should
goes
be
over to the Kaz goes to the plexig steel Duraglass, whatever it is, and just Kaz looks around. Is there a way to make it go back up again?
Not one that you see. You could always just knock on it,
Okay. Kaz intentionally knocking off beat so that he hears.
And then you here I go, as the thing slides up like it's. Oh, sorry. And he turns down the volume and says, "All right, well, what'd you decide? Suicide or suicide?" And he kind of clicks in a couple things. I'm just joking. We definitely have a small percentage chance of survival. What did you decide?
We're gonna have you pilot the Rafaela, and Rona's going to do the hyperlens.
All right, good choice. And he hits the comm link and he says, "All right, now Rona, you take it easy with that ship over there. That's $1 billion cubal or more from what I hear. Make sure that your ship doesn't, accidentally hit any astral trails." And Rona
She's been piloting it for a while.
I'm sure she has. And he says, "All right, do the best you can." And Rona says, "Just make sure that you get them down there alive, Rufus." And he says, "Hey, we're talking about me. Listen, when this is all over, I imagine that perhaps on a certain moonlit," and you hear like as the connections close, like, "Damn it, I gotta get that intercom fixed." And clicks it over and he says, "All right, folks. So if we're doing this, we're not too far away here from entering the space where they're going to pick it up. You might want to make any last, preparations that you have right now. And then you're going to need to suit up and belt up."
Yeah, this is that right before you start the final mission type thing where you have to go back to the NPC.
Yeah, the big glowing save point, yeah.
Press A and it's like, "Are you sure you'd like to continue?"
Yeah,
And press A
exactly.
again. Yeah.
It's the point of no return. No.
I would say, of course, we make sure to have the Prasan Alfred on the Rafaela with us.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need that.
That's true, actually.
Other than
Let's just make sure. We have Sleepo with the 4 constructs. We have Kaz, Petra, Aramis, and as you just said, the Alfred the Alfred Passan. And then you've got Rona and the Hyperlance crew on.
Yes.
And the
on
other
the
Alfred.
Hyperlance.
On the Hyperlance. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I think.
And the dog.
That's
the
it.
dog is
And the
in
dog.
The dog's on the Hyperlens.
Yes. I'm sorry. I can't forget the
Yes.
dog. We
of
always
course.
forget.
I'll make sure it happens. Thank you for the resub. It's Law. Thank you, everybody, for the resubs during these things. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Almost to 1,400 on the donations. Okay. Okay. So, having done all of that, he says, he starts moving in and he says, "I'll be damned, it really is exactly there." And as you see he kind of highlights in and he clears out some other stuff, and you see what looks for all the world like this old school 20th century like CRT TV, literally with like lines up and down on the screen, and he like fiddles with what looks like these wires on top of it, and he kind of bends it back and forth. It's like, "All right, wait, just how you okay, hold it. And then it's sure enough, it's like semi-clear, and you can see that it's actually a vid screen in the front. And on it, it has a listing of several planets. You see Dendus, and then you see the moon of Phaetus 5. And that seems to be where the ship is headed and where the signal seems to be leading, the directions that they gave you to the space. And he says, "All right, well, here we go, people. You might want to get seatbelts in there. For those of you who have them, I think there's mostly over there. And so there are seats on the bridge. They're all like on with like ripped cushions where there's like some foam coming out, you know what I mean? And like a couple of these, what look like old school belts, like seat belts and stuff like that. You can see some of them are a little bit ripped and torn. And and so there is room enough for all of the people on the bridge to sit down and, quote, belt yourself in, such as it is. Does everyone do that, or is everyone?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as much as possible.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We do.
Okay. So he does that, and he says, "All right, there," and he points at the screen, and you see some dots, and he's like, "Here's where Rona's gonna do her work. Let's see whether or not she attracts their attention." They are, I see what you did there. Yes, hopefully little red dot is doing all right. Our beloved little red dot from Marvoclus, etc. No, they are, in fact, they are red dots, but not our little red dot. And as you look, you see that they are sort of circling this kind of stylized circle that you assume is intended to be the planet. And then you can see 2 blue dots, yourself and presumably the Hyperlance. And then the blue dot begins to veer away, and these red dots begin to move off in that direction. He says, all right, you got to bait the hook. You got to bait the hook. Not too fast. He's like, watching and like doing the play-by-play. And then, good girl. There. And he's like pointing at the screen. And now the blue dot is moving away, and a bunch of the red dots are moving in. And he kind of fiddles with stuff. He says, it should be like that, I think. And he clicks in, and it clicks into what clearly is a radio broadcast, which is unidentified vessel, halt, stand down, close your engines, you will be fired upon, unidentified vessel. And this is clearly tapping in on the other vessels that are heading towards the other blue dot, which is the Hyperlance. And he says, all right, now the fun begins. And he clears off some more space on his desk, takes a big lever, and immediately almost everything goes dark on the screen. In fact, there we go. Everything goes dark, and the ship goes eerily silent, and there's just one sort of blinking blue light, and it illuminates his face, and he says, this is the part that I love. Now, I would like all of you, please, to make... How do I do this?
A sandwich.
Insight checks, please, for me.
Oh, same thing.
Okay. Aramis is very excited, just getting belted in. Ooh. Same thing with Sleepwell. I would say, none of these are that, I would say, though, that both Kaz and Petra, you were able to notice as he puts his hands around the side wheel, the kind of flight yoke, right, and begins to shift it left and right. You notice that the same smile that's always on his face slowly drifts away a bit. And as he moves with the ship, you see that at one point his eyes are essentially closed. And for a minute you wonder, like, did he fall asleep? And then you're like, no, because he's still moving it around as if he's feeling like he was surfing on a wave, the way the ship moves. And the ship yaws and rolls in this very sort of at first terrifying way, but as you're going around you begin to notice that doesn't seem to be random. He's moving, and ever on the screen in front of you can see like your dot is moving closer and closer and closer to the planet. And he's moving and shifting, and then he says, all right, and now the bumpy part, and everyone goes, huh! And the sensors all go dark, the blue light goes out, and a couple of control panels in front of him go and like spark and burst up, and he's like, yep, all right then. And the ship begins to lurch, and he's like, right, why do planets have atmospheres anyway? And as you're going through, the ship sort of shakes, and he's like, what? Oh yeah, that's what I'm missing. And he hits something over to his right, some button, and you hear as the thing's like all the way through. And finally he says, and perhaps now we want to see what's out there. And he hits a button, and suddenly, you've never seen these things move before, this loud wail as everywhere around you these metal plates lift up to reveal essentially a series of windows all along your sides and in front, as if you're like right in the midst of this like observation deck, basically. And now you can see the rocky terrain as you have burst through these dark clouds that envelop the moon. And he's just like, this is the best part. The best part. Rolls left and right. And you hear all kinds of warning things going off. He's like, that's fine. I need to get that fixed anyway. So, everything's sounding off. And then he gets closer and closer and then says, all right, there. That's where the signal leads. Huh. Interesting place to land. It's essentially you're heading towards an enormous ravine. And it's this big gap. And down below, you can see that this area, in fact, I have a picture for you, which I will show you. You see an area that basically looks, for all intents and purposes, rocky and barren, with strange-looking rock formations that are, in some cases, seem to be floating in the air, and then you realize they're just slowly drifting and bouncing into each other. There must be some gravity, but it's probably pretty low gravity here, if you had to guess. And let me show you what it looks like on stream. Coming up. Bear with me. Now. This is what you see, with the exception of the person standing on it. This is what you see, these kind of rocky formations, kind of an orangish glow, and these misty clouds that kind of drift along the surface as the thing is just like, bashing down towards this ravine. And he sort of closes in and then, all right, now the retro rockets. Hey, Kaz, would you mind hitting that button next to you?
Which one?
Well, it's there. And there's you see that there's a big green button that's just flashing by your head.
I poke it.
Okay, the minute you poke it, you all lurch again as this rockets start going off down below. And the ship sort of begins to come down, and then he says, and nice and easy. And just a little jolt, and wha-bam! You all hit the ground with a slam, and then a second time, and then doof, 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 doof. It's like smooth as silk. So he does that, and he says, "Well, welcome to Fadus 5. What a lovely place." And he presses a couple of buttons, and he says, "All right, we're here. Now all you need to do is get over to the base. And according to where the signal's beeping, it's about 6 miles or so, Terran miles in that direction." And he kind of points vaguely towards one side of the ship. You can see that you are now sort of square in the middle of this ravine, where there are big walls on either side that kind of leap around, that kind of climb around you. And you're in the middle of pretty much a sandy/rocky area with rocks around you, and you're in the midst of this almost like a plateau, and the valley walls right around you. And he shows you where on the map he thinks you're supposed to be heading based on the signal that he got.
So at this point, Sleepwell is slowly dropping all facades and is kind of returning to his normal self. And he's like, "Why did you land us in the middle of a ravine where we have to climb sheer walls to get out of here?"
"Oh, not sheer walls." He's like, "If you go down that side, there's a path that'll lead out of here, or there should be, at least according to the stuff that Abraxas sent me about the location. And he told me how to put down here because it's far enough away from the base. You don't need this ship, after all, to get in. According to what Abraxas is saying, you need that." And he points at Alfred, and he says, "You bring all of you to it. They're not going to be looking for people on foot, certainly not with what there is out there. It's not particularly hospitable, from what I understand."
That's a 2-hour march that we're going to have to do just to get there. We're going to be exhausted by the time we arrive. What time of day is it? In terms of how light?
It seems like it's late night, and what I'm showing you there, by the way, is accurate in that there's this kind of hellish glow almost. So it is during the day, but it seems like this is the time during which the daylight is gradually coming to an end. So it's beginning to dim even as you look at it. He also tells you that at night it's completely dark, with only occasional lighting from lightning that arcs through the clouds here. Fairly stormy weather up top that you can see.
Great. So any light source that we need in order to even navigate there, it's going to make us shine like beacons in the middle of the night.
He says, but no one's going to be able to see you down there because no one's going to be looking below the cloud cover. Remember, nobody does patrols on foot down here. Why would you bother? This isn't the place you'd come for a vacation. It is the place you'd go for a secret base. The Nandusi portion of this, I think, is on the other side of the planet, but they haven't gotten over this way yet. It's, perfectly reasonable out there. You can even breathe the air. I mean, it smells like crap, but you could breathe it if you want.
Any chance for some sort of ride? Do you have a transport, some kind that we can use?
He says, well, I might be able to see if there's something I can do. And this jumps us forward just a moment for him to show you at the bottom of this ramp with all of you standing next to what might be described as charitably motorcycles. They are kind of a mess, though. They are made of this weird combination. All of them, however, have what looks like flames that have been poorly painted on the sides of them, like up the sides of each one. And he says, these ones should give you some good traction and they'll get you there pretty quickly. You just want to make sure you don't tilt too far left or right, because if that happens, you might lose control, and then they're a little volatile. They might blow up. So you just want to make sure you're careful. But they'll get you there fast, and no one's going to be looking for anyone on a motorbike either. Just make sure that when you're, say a mile out from the base or something like that, you might want to put them into low and eventually stop because the noise might carry. They also have a headlight you can see on the front of each of these bikes. Oh, and I should mention down here, since you're at the bottom, that there is a distinctly strong smell of sulfur in the air down here.
My favorite. Well, this sounds like a mission to me. I'm ready. Kaz mounts a bike.
Okay.
Yep.
So, are you going to come pick us up when this is done? Or are we supposed to make our way all the way back here?
Nah, you're going to be making... it's like, you don't need to make your way back to me. I got to make a couple of repairs on the ship, but if you can get back out again, then I can pick you up a lot faster. Because I'm not going to have to worry about being detected. They'll already have detected you, right? If you get into the base, either you blow it up or you run out for your lives. They're going to know you're there. Then I pick you up and we get the hell out of here. And hope that Rona and the Hyperlance isn't already blown up.
Perfect. And Aramis gets on a bike.
He waits.
Sleep well, and all 4 constructs get on bikes.
Okay. Now, in fairness, I'm not sure that he has a bike for every construct, to be clear. So we're gonna have to think about how to do that, Sleepwell. He's got basically 4 bikes, maybe I guess 5 counting him. He's not coming with you, but he has a 5th bike. So you could try to convince him, to let you take one bike that one construct drive. I don't know.
Well, that also begs the question of how we get Alfred. Alfred's gonna have to drive,
and that would be the 5th
own
bike if you wanted to use that.
Yeah.
We could ride double.
Or yeah. Why don't we have each of us will have our bike and then our construct on the back of our bike.
Okay. So okay. All right, you have you plus mini you. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And is the Aramis construct, it does have a head, right? Or did you recreate it without a head again?
No. He never gets ahead anymore. Everybody else.
So I like how
decided-
we just see this panoramic shot of each of us with our cool constructs in the back, and then there's Aramis just
looking
with
very
a
annoyed,
headless-
right? With like
yes, right behind him is a headless version of himself.
Okay, so Sleepwell gets on. Petra, what about you?
Yep. I am on the bike with my construct saddled up behind me. This should be really interesting.
Okay, just before we stop, then I'm going to ask all of you to make please for me. Ooh, I'm going to say
This is for driving?
yes.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm
I
going
thought you were
to
going to ask for a constitution check.
Yeah, there is a land vehicle tool skill.
Wait,
I don't have. I have space vehicle.
Oh,
Pretty sure.
I was gonna have a yeah. Well, but for a small.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a
But
second.
anyway, I mean, yeah, you could probably still ask for some sort of dexterity.
No, I mean, yeah,
check or
because
something,
I want
but,
I want something that everyone is able to do this at some
But
level.
yeah,
I'm gonna
like I
ask
have-
for.
I have space vehicles, but I don't think this is a space vehicle.
No.
So
I'm going to ask for dexterity on this, please. I will say, though, if you're proficient in mechanics, which I think is Sleepwell,
Yeah.
I will say that I will give you. I'll give you +2. I think not advantage because this thing's a weird bike, but a +2 I can give you on that check. So dexterity +2 would be. And
If
actually,
you're
if anyone
proficient in
has
mechanics.
acrobatics, I'll take
Yeah.
that instead of dexterity. Mechanics will still give you the +2 if you're proficient in it.
okay. So for everyone, it's D20 plus Dex. If you're proficient in acrobatics, you can use that. If you are proficient in mechanics, you still make a Dex check, but you add 2.
Exactly.
All right. Oh.
Sorry.
Oh,
Okay, here we go.
We might all be
Outstanding.
dead, so maybe we don't need to roll anymore.
How did
'cause
your
he might have
campaign
run-
end?
I
Well-
just would like to say how refreshing it is to see someone else fail their dex check
Here
for
we go.
once. And thank you, Johnny, for this may be the first time someone
Oh
other
my
than
God.
Petra has failed.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Well, hold on a second. So this is interesting because the roll didn't actually work correctly. It should be 2 because it was a crit failure, or it was a critical failure. But I actually have +1 in my dexterity, so it's
So it should be
technically
a 2. No, noted. That's hugely
Oh.
important.
But just
Okay.
what? I'm
That
still
changes
going to say that I
everything.
fail it.
Yeah.
Please.
Petra,
Do
is
your
that
worst.
a 15? Was that a 15 on the okay. So Petra gets started. Kaz, you have a little bit, but no, not too much problem. And the visual that I want as this thing heads down from the ship, down the plateau, and then prepares to head over the little edge of the plateau down into the valley proper and heading towards the right direction, is so Aramis is running along. You begin to it begins to shake left and right. And then you basically plunge over the edge of the plateau, and you just hear this whistling sound. And right behind Aramis is Sleepwell, and as Sleepwell with his 20 goes after him, you hear this "I like to ride" playing loudly from the back of the bike as Sleepwell
Oh my
plunges
God.
after Aramis in pursuit. And with that image of those motorbikes heading in the most metal of ways,
yes.
metal AF way towards the base, we're going to bring this scenario, bring this session to a close.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for the motorbike
I was gonna say
infiltration of
too
the base.
that Kaz seeing them fall behind, Kaz would pull from his back his grappling gun and would shoot down so that they would maybe have something to grab onto to swing up or something.
Okay,
But we'll get to that next time.
That makes sense. Exactly, Critchard. Woo! I thought you were going to say you pull out your gun and it was going to be like the Last of the Mohicans, where you're like, just for his good, I'm just going to.
Just take him out.
I got to relieve his suffering
It's
right
like-
now.
I am the long winter. This is where I eliminate the
Oh,
party.
God.
Yes.
Oh man.
I will
Great.
begin as always. This is a wonderfully fun session for me just to watch you folks work through things, and I was in a good mood anyway
Amazing.
because of how we're doing things with the donations. I will start as usual with on the right, and I'll work over. Zach, good stuff today with
Yeah.
Kaz. Kaz had a chance to. I think it was really interesting to hear the back and forth that the party members had that you all had about whether or not who to put in what pilot and what sort of ship and all that as you were sort of watching from a distance. And I thought that was fascinating to me. And I don't know, I was curious to see how Kaz was going to relate to certain aspects of, I guess you're used to seeing strange non-Bellari by this point, so maybe it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But this was yet another one of those examples. And here you are on the surface of this crazy planet, about to make a motorbike infiltration. How'd you
Yep.
feel about today? Where would lovely folks see next?
Today was amazing. I am so happy that we were able to start ArvCon with such a blast of this
So
rocket.
great.
Amazing, this run for charity. So I am super happy about that. super happy to get back into Esper Genesis. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And
Yes,
playing with these wonderful, wonderful people. So yeah, tonight was amazing, and that sets us up for the start of our kind of end game heist that we got going on, trying to get into this base. So this is going to be cool. Some prime TTRPG Esper Genesis material. So I'm ready to go. The fine people, and only the fine people, will find me. Of course, anyone that watches this channel is a fine person. Will find me here on this channel, of course, for Esper Genesis the next time we have the cast. Also for our vocalists, which is the show on this channel where Arv plays a text-based game and brings in voice actors to voice the text, of which I am a cast member.
Yep.
And you'll also see me on this coming Sunday, 2 days from now, for the finale of ArvCon, the concert day.
Not finale, actually. It's day 3. There is a day 4. But
oh
it's
yes,
finale
because
of
on
that
Monday
Sunday,
you're
though.
getting Monday you're getting people from Damon Runyon to play D&D.
That's
Yeah,
it. Yep.
Beautiful. So not the finale. You should watch the finale, which is on Monday. But for the pre-finale on Sunday,
The musical
the
finale.
concert, yes, where I'll be playing marimba in the form. I'll be playing synth and strings and marimba and other sorts of instruments in the form of this synthetic thing behind me. Much like my synthetic character. So that's me. Thank you all for having me, and can't wait till next time.
Good stuff. Thank you, Zach. As always, a pleasure. I will see you on Sunday, the penultimate day of ArvCon. Yes, Hillness, that's right. Which leads it to sleep well. Carlos, I was having fun with this whole concept. I love the idea of the sort of military bearing, and then you being like, I'm playing this good cop, bad cop thing. And like, it wouldn't have been as weird to you if I told you ahead of time. That felt
All checked out.
very sleep-welly to me. You know, in its own oddly, only the tactical way that only Sleepwell could somehow come up with. And now you've got this situation. And again, I love the image of you being you're the ride to Valhalla with your 20, while Aramis is not so much. And of course, again, I'm very grateful for the contribution today. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Oh, it's good to be back. I mean, it's just like you just never know where the story's going to lead you, because we have such good like players here, and it's just so much fun to just come up stuff with on the fly like this. So it's just really a lot of fun. There's just nothing else like it in my life. So had a great time tonight. Really like to see all the different characters interacting. Really, I mean, it's just really fun to play Sleepwell, who's just sort of like, wait, I got a plan, don't worry. And of course, it's just like, what is that? How
This
is that a
is his
plan?
chaotic energy outlet.
Yeah,
And
really.
you live for it.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you remember Kanye West, saying, I got tiger blood, and like, I
Big
literally
Kanye
have tiger
energy.
blood.
Oh my
So, so it's that big tiger energy I was carrying today. In terms of what I've got going on right now, I just turned in grades yesterday, and so
Yeah.
I am taking a weekend off, man. Like I am catching up
Gotta go
with
check
my.
mine.
Oh, say again?
Gotta go check my grades.
Oh, you did fine, Zach. You did fine.
Thanks, Professor.
But speaking of that, one of the things that I've been wanting to do for a while is create a fun grammar game for my students, because my students are great. And sometimes I have to dock them on things that don't really matter much in the great scheme of things. Because once you memorize those grammar rules, you'll be fine.
Right.
It's just, you'll be fine. So I have tried to create a proof of concept of what a grammar game could look like if it was Final Fantasy III. It's in the chat right now. I've got an itch page up right now, and it's really just like it's 20 minutes maybe of play, like not even that much, a couple of simple puzzles toward the end. But I would love people's feedback, and if people had any and all thoughts. In fact, had a couple of people already in the chat who gave me some notes of things that I need to fix up in the code and stuff like that. So if you got 20 minutes, I'd really appreciate it. You can just hit me up on the Arv Discord and let me know your thoughts.
That's good stuff. Exactly, Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 3 US, which was actually Final Fantasy 6, right? It's
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to get into the Final Fantasy weird genealogy stuff. It's just pre-7 is like the way to think of it. You
for
know,
sure.
like that style of Final Fantasy game.
It's super cool. I am excited to look at it and check it out when I get a chance. When ArvCon is finished, I will look at it. But thank you, Carlos. It's always a pleasure. And again, thank you for the generosity. Really, really appreciate it. And that leads us on to Kat. Kat, we had an interesting thing here. You know, Petra, obviously, there's the proximity to the Nindusi, who are directly connected, obviously, with the Ashen Forged and, you know, with Tezora and all that stuff. But then also, you know, a lot of people... I know initially everyone was joking that like you never want to miss a session because everyone makes you captain when you miss a session. But truthfully, it feels to me, I don't know how you feel, that Petra is kind of, you know, taken on, I don't know if it's embraced is the right word, but is kind of taken on the role more of being like, well, I mean, if it's up to me, you know, because everyone keeps being like, let me take you to the real captain. And they keep turning back to you as that role. So I don't know how you feel about that or whether or not that's where Petra's going, but it certainly seemed to me like Petra was a little more comfortable falling into that mix a bit this time around than perhaps previous. And, you know, I don't know if you see that as an evolution or not, but I was curious what you thought about the game, etc.
I think she's become somewhat resigned to it more
Okay,
than
you just gave up.
anything else. It's like, all right.
Okay.
But I mean, Petra's a really fun character, and she's sort of unabashedly good, while my D&D character is evil. So it's kind of fun to go back and forth between the two. No, Petra's fun. I mean, and Petra really is it's interesting to think about kind of the Ashen Forge and are sort of the paladins of this game, and so it's interesting. Not the Ashen Forge, the Sentinels.
The Sentinels are,
the
yeah.
paladins. I don't know what the Ashen Forge were like, big hulking people. Anyway, so I am freshly vaccinated and have been venturing out into public. It's been so exciting.
Awesome.
But my next few appearances are unfortunately virtual. If you're interested in Cascade Writers, I think there's just a little bit of time left to sign up for that. And I'm also going to appear at Willamette Writers. And I'm going to be doing some events for Clarion West. I'm going to do, at the beginning of the Write-a-thon, a story generator workshop. And I urge people to support the Clarion West Write-a-thon this summer if you're interested. But I also want to say, this is really your last chance to help us by donating to the Damon Runyon Cancer Foundation. You may not understand how crucial this is, because we must be the best. You know, there's that. And otherwise, I know some of the people in the other campaigns, and they will be assholes if they win. So keep them from being assholes, right? I'm not naming anybody, right? But just, we should win. We're the best. Donate now. Okay, now I'm muting.
Intolerable, exactly, Dragon Spirit.
Thank you so much to people who have donated. It is amazing, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you so much, Kat, and as always, a great pleasure. And last but certainly not least, Johnny, I appreciated the fact too that Aramis was playing the contrarian in terms of like the plan, but in a way that was clearly not. It was not at all obnoxious. It was sort of the, but wait, like this is the thing that actually makes it work, and it was very much. I mean, it, you know, if you had chosen the other way, that's what would have happened. You know, they would have taken it down in the other direction. It did mean that you got to have the kind of torn leather seats in the van, you know, from 1972 type of, you know, vibe on the place, but nevertheless, you know, Aramis was really kind of thinking about the best possible options, even though, and when worked through those. And so that was interesting to hear Aramis, the tactician again, trying to figure out what to do, and also kind of blame the good cop, bad cop thing with Sleepwell without realizing perhaps that was exactly what was going on. Was a lot of fun also. How did you feel about today? And of course, as always, one of the lovely folks. See you next.
Today was awesome. The tactician Aramis surprises me too. You know, that voice comes up and pops into the character all the time. So, but it comes in ways that I'm not even really familiar that it's going to happen until it does. So yeah. I kind of like that Aramis just kind of speaks through me so much more than it's me figuring out where the character's going to go.
Interesting.
I'm not going to plug anything about myself. I'm gonna second what Kat said. We will not live it down if we do not retain our title as the A team. It's incredibly crucial because she is right. We will have an intolerable amount of frustration over this and things coming out our direction. So please thank you for everybody who has donated so far. If nothing else, just thank you. It's awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's it. I'm not going to plug anything right now. So
well, thank you to my wonderful players, and yeah, I'm so happy that we were separate from ArvCon. I'm really glad that we're back doing this. I have so much fun with this campaign. I basically get to play Mass Effect role playing with these amazing players going in directions I wouldn't have expected all the time, and it's great. And it is, I mean, legit a motorbike race towards a oh my God, please, like it's so great. I can't wait to see how everyone handles it. It's going to be awesome in June. But I want to also thank them so much for, just in general donations, the time, and all that kind of stuff. And with that said, I'm going to let them all go as I promised I would do. So I'm going to thank, as always, chat, can we get some love for the amazing players who launched ArvCon so well, of Johnnie Pittman, Kat Rambo, Carlos Hernandez, and Zach Clay. Players, thank you from the bottom of my heart again, and I will see Zach on Sunday, and all the rest of you I will see next month for the next Esper Genesis.
Greg, thank you so much, not only for this session, but for ArvCon. I really love this initiative. I love these people here, so thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Ditto.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Greg.
everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Yeah, I'm Commander Hill. This is my favorite TTRPG group of Twitch. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone. All righty. Oh, look at that. $2.89, which means that we are up to exactly 1,400. I see what you did there. That is good stuff. Thank you very much, Trivet. That's awesome. 1,400. So we are exactly at 1,400. Now the question is, can we go past it? No, that's this is really, really cool. This started in a very good way. It was a really fun session. First of all, I really enjoyed with these players, and secondly, man, like that is a great number to start with. Like no joke. Oops, sorry about that. Where's my camera? Where are you? There you are. That's a great opening. So no, you can't pass 1,400. You just hit 1,400. What a great way to open. Man, I did not know what to expect. I mean, we got that big $2,000 boost last year right off the bat. But again, this is way above what we got as a first day for something like Damon Runyon. As I said, 2 years ago, we actually only got to about 1,850 something odd at the end of the whole thing. So hitting 1,400 on day one is pretty sweet, especially since, we got underway at about 8:30. So basically we were on for about 3.5 hours. So $1,400 in 3.5 hours, that is good stuff. So now we can do more stuff going forward, and that sets us up nicely. So first of all, again, thank you so much to my wonderful players. Great job tonight. Great way to launch the show, to launch the event. And secondly, I want to thank the amazing people at Alligator Alley for sponsoring this event, and to Rich Kliskuflair for doing this in the first place. I mean, Esper Genesis is such a great system, and I love it. It's really like Mass Effect, the TTRPG. I love it. It's so great. So yeah. And most of all, what's greatest of all is that number right there, 1,400. Remember, our goal is $2,500 for this event. So we are over halfway there already. We are over halfway to our goal, and we have not even entered day 2 yet. Day 2 is going to start tomorrow, or I guess I should say later today. And in fact, we are so way beyond this that we're actually behind on giveaways, and probably what we'll end up doing is we have 14 giveaways to do, and we're about to finish the 4th giveaway, so we're like 10 behind. Fortunately, tomorrow we're going to have all day to be able to run these giveaways. So we'll be doing giveaways all tomorrow with a bunch more of these things. And we have got dice, we have got we've got codes, we have got books, physical books, both reading books and of the game book variety. TTRPG variety, and we've got stuff from all those companies that you see over there: Alligator Alley, Athos Arts, Beamdog, Fatbot Games, GOG.com, Harebrained Schemes, Kraken Dice, Nomad Games, Pegasus Spiele, Tin Man Games, and a secret sponsor who you're going to find out about tomorrow. We've got all that stuff going on, so it was great. Your friend is going to donate. Her family's cancer prone, so she always donates. That's awesome, Burner. Yeah, I hear so many things from people who are so glad that we have an event like this. And again, like, I'm hoping we raise as much as we possibly can. If we end up raising, if we hit the goal and go past it and we raise 2,500, 26, 27, who knows? In the large scheme of things, you think, oh, 2,700, how much is that? But honestly, it's both small and large, right? It's both small in the sense that it's just one set of contributions in one event, in one time period of time, in one moment in time. But it's also part of a chain of donations, of research, of work that's being done to solve this, and to solve this problem. And they have made enormous progress. People who are able to live for long periods of time with many forms of cancers now, cancers which can be cured, cancers which can be placed into remission effectively forever, for a lifetime, and other things that are giving people hope, where before a diagnosis was a death sentence. Now those people are getting to hope, and it's because of what we have with this Damon Runyon thing. And so that's kind of important. That's awesome, Burner. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. So that's pretty wild. And I should also point out that we do have those top donator prizes going. Now, as of right now, Carlos Hernandez is currently in the lead for that fireworks photo right above my shoulder over there. That looks good. Yeah. Right over there. The second donator, which is going to be getting this right here, second donator right now is Hillness. Hillness is going to be getting this as we speak. And right now, the third donator, which is the $100 donation that we got from Nonstop, right now is getting this, which is this limited edition hardcover Kickstarter edition from Athos Arts of my graphic novel, silver medal Benjamin Award from the IBPA, Best Graphic Novel of 2020 silver medalist winning Icarus and Jelinek. So that's what we've got in terms of the donators. And we have a lot of people that have already won things, and we've got a lot more things that we're going to be giving away. So we got a lot of giveaways there. So I'm very grateful to everyone who did this. And also, let me thank all of the mods again for all the work behind the scenes. Dragonspear for putting together this amazing spreadsheet. JRab for helping with this stuff. Obviously, Shadow Mage, Triffity Mats, all of the mods who have been Hillness, all of the mods who have been up front managing this and behind the scenes doing it. This can't be done with one person. It just can't. And so my ability to be able to manage what's going on up front, run the game, talk about schedule and all this stuff is limited by what all of the back end stuff that's going on behind the scenes can do, both prep work and what we're doing during the show and during the event. And you folks are just like, I'm so grateful to the mods. So big ups to the mods, and congratulations to all the folks who have won games and game codes so far. That's really amazing. And I'm really glad that things are moving ahead the way they are. So I'm going to be back tomorrow with day 2 of ArvCon. Now, for those of you who missed this, day 2 of ArvCon is going to be pretty sweet. It's going to begin at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. I may come on a few minutes before that, but it's going to be starting really at 11:30 a.m. Eastern with an interview with 3 of the Damon Runyon scientists, those who have been supported by them. Haripriya Narayan, who is one of the quantitative biology fellows at UCLA, funded by Damon Runyon. Caroline Bartman, who is one of the Damon Runyon fellows at Princeton. And Balint Kakso, who is one of the Damon Runyon fellows at the University of Pennsylvania. These are 3 researchers, 3 scientists who, again, are part of the exact same crew. They are, young researchers who are extremely gifted, and their talents are being used to try to find some solution to this dread disease. And the way that Damon Runyon works is it funds research that they might not be able to get funded otherwise. Stuff which is solid and research and evidence-based, but is also bold. And a bold idea from a young person, it's not like they have a lab established for 30 years that they can go, well, I've done all these things, and they're in their 60s now. These are young people that have passion, energy, talent, and knowledge and ideas that are worth supporting, and Damon Runyon jumps in at that moment. And the work that's that's been done by these research has really moved things forward. So it's going to be, it's been really great to be able to work with an organization like this. And I'm really grateful this time, especially to the folks who made this happen. And I want to especially call out, let me get the email so I can get their last name about this also. Yes. Let me call out here Megan McCurdy and Medel Tabunda. Medel Tabunda is the social media manager of Damon Runyon, and Megan McCurdy is basically the overall public relations, marketing person for Damon Runyon as well. And Megan and Medel really got behind this time, which I'm really grateful to them that they were able to do. This makes a big difference, obviously, having Damon Runyon behind us. And so that page you've been clicking on to go donate, that page is its own thing that was set up just for us. The fact that we actually have PayPal now that international people can use, that's a big deal. That was something that I'd been asking for a while, and they just really, really made that happen. So I'm very glad about that, and it's exciting. It's exciting to actually see them jumping behind this and really getting behind this the way that they are. So thank you to Damon Runyon for making this happen. Let me just make sure I take care of one of the things here. Like that. Okay. So I'm really excited to have Damon Runyon behind us. So tomorrow we start with those scientists. We'll interview them, and those folks are going to be back on Monday, but more about that in a minute. Then at noon Eastern, we're going to be starting with Adventures in Middle-earth, Erebor Adventures, with our usual crew, Trendane, Amal, Terry, and Brad. They will be with us for 4 hours, roughly speaking, maybe 3 hours, 45 minutes to be exact. And they are going to be there from 12 to basically 3:45. Then there'll be a 15-minute pause while I set up the next stream. That will lead us to D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. This is, we hope, the climactic session. This is the concluding session if all goes well. That's going to be running for 4 hours. It may run a little bit over that. The community D&D folks on Saturday night know that they may not be starting right at 8 o'clock. It might be 8:30 or a little later. So we're going to do the best we can. We want to try to get Storm King's Thunder finished if we can, but I'm not going to push it and go until 10 o'clock or something outrageous. So if it turns out we can't finish it, we can't finish it, we'll finish it the next time, but I'd love to get it done tomorrow. That, of course, as always, is going to have the amazing Pyron Jade, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and Chai. So you'll want to be there for those four as they wrap up the 4-year-plus running campaign of Storm King's Thunder, which is available in audio podcast form, thanks to Fleos, by the way. And then starting at, again, sometime between 8 and 8:45 p.m. Eastern, we will have Community D&D with the Shadow Crew with Dragon of Icespire Peak, and they will jump on board for that. So that's what we've got going on. They will be doing prime time with, of course, the amazing Trifity Mets, with Echo Alpha X5, with Rock God, with Hoodie, and of course with Shadow Mage as your DM of Dragon of Icespire Peak. That will close out day 2 of ArvCon. Day 3 on Sunday will begin at noon Eastern with D&D with Infinity and Beyond, Palace of the Red Pasha. That will be the finale, and that will definitely be the finale. That's going to be an 8-hour marathon session from 12 to 8 p.m., roughly speaking, maybe 8:15, 8:30, give or take. We're going to do that. We'll do a little bit of a post-mortem where they talk a bit about what the campaign was like for them and so on, and whether they live or die. That, of course, as always, will be John Helfers. It'll be Trendane Sparks. It'll be Darkside Rob, and it'll be Sod. That'll be before Sod takes a break from Twitch. He'll be gone for maybe a little bit close to a year, attending to work stuff and stuff like that. So it's going to be a long session. We do this every year as part of ArvCon, so we'll be doing that. And then we will have our concert, which will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Kilgore Trout from GogCom fame will be with us. He'll be there from 9 to 9:45. Then Zach Clay, who you just saw at Esper Genesis, will pop on from 10 to 10:45 p.m. Eastern. And finally, we will have Indy jumping on board. That's Jordan Indiana Gonzalez, headlining from 11 to midnight or so Eastern on Sunday, and that will wrap up day 3. And then day 4, on our last day of ArvCon, will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern with a Scum and Villainy one-shot with those same 3 scientists that I told you about, with Mike Underwood as the GM. I'm really excited about that because, Scum and Villainy, what's not to like? And Mike, of course, is your GM, so I'm really glad that he's doing that. And then, of course, at 6 p.m. Eastern, we will have the special of Pyre Waltz, which is this micro RPG game, which is going to consist of, as I jump down here just to double check, which is a micro RPG game, which is going to consist of these amazing people. It is going to have Mike Underwood there, Valerie Valdez. It is going to have Brandon O'Brien and Amr Amaraz. Mike and Valerie, you should know. Mike, of course, we already talked about, but you also know him and Valerie from Blades in the Dark, the Case of the Cindered Seal, which is the Speculate thing that we run on our channel. And of course, you should also know Amr from Sound Clash, and Brandon, of course, runs that. And that is all going to be facilitated by the games designer, Soup, who is going to be coming to the channel for the first time, which is great, but is going to be facilitating this for all of us. And that's going to run from roughly 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, and that will close up shop. So on the other side, who knows what we'll hit? We hit 1,400 right now. Who knows what we'll get to at the end? The goal is 2,500. I hope we go way past that. But in any case, that's the very awesome set of events that we've got set up for you. And I think I can figure out right now. So we have 4 for Esper Genesis. We have got, I'll come back to the scientists. We've got 4 for Erebor Adventures. That's 8. We've got 4 more for Storm King's Thunder. That's 12. We've got 4 more for Community D&D plus Shadowed Mage. That's 16, 17. We have got 4 more for Palace of the Red Pasha, which is 3 new players because Trendane's an AIME as well. So that's 20. Then we've got the concerts. That's 3 people, one of whom has already been there. So with Zach, so that's 22 with Kilgore and Indy. Then we've got the scientists and Mike Underwood. So that's 24. And then we've got... let's see, Mike's already there, Brandon's already there, but we've got Valerie, Amr, and Soup, so that's 27. So we have, counting me into that mix, 28 different people, and not counting me, 27 people that will be literally on stream, either playing a concert or being in a game over the course of this weekend. So that's exciting that we have that many people that are involved. It's going to be great, and I'm really thankful to everyone who's making this possibility. But that's going to be it for me for today, because I need to rise up and out of here and try to get some rest because we got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you, Mrs. Dunsel, for the resub. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks everyone for the resubs too, and the subs today. We had a bunch of gift subs too. I was not expecting that. I really am not pushing this today. I'm pushing my own stuff today. I'm pushing ArvCon obviously over the weekend. But yeah, 27 people that we're all managing. It's all, not just me. It's all the companies that do it. It's all of the mods that make it happen behind the scenes. It's all the game masters, me, Shadowed, Brandon, Mike, the other people that are involved. So they are the ones who make this what it is. Shadowed Mage doing this amazing splash screen, Shadowed Mage doing the logos and, all that kind of stuff, and doing, of course, Arcanus So yeah, you folks are all lovely people. So I want to ask one favor to everybody. If you've donated already, thank you. If you haven't, please consider doing so. Please let other people know as well. Please spread the word. Even if they're people that don't normally come to something like this, please let them know this is a lot of fun. It's a great community. Sometimes, you never know, they may actually like this crazy tabletop role-playing thing that we do on here. They may like the music that gets played. Maybe it's not going to be Steppenwolf like Rufus Drake was doing today, but maybe it'll be something else. But in any case, please spread the word on your social networks. I noticed a lot of you have been retweeting and posting it to different places, and that's great. Please continue to do that and push this. No donation is too small because all of it moves us towards that goal that we want, which is $2,500 and beyond. And if you're in a position where you can't financially contribute, I want to emphasize again that you are no less for doing that. It's just a matter of being able to do what you can, to be here in chat, to contribute to the community, to spread the word. That also makes a huge difference. So no amount is too small, but if you're in a position financially that you can't do that right now, no harm, no foul. We understand, and it's just a matter of all of us pulling together towards common purpose, including the people who contribute those donations and things like that. And I think I mentioned, 4 more. Yeah, so I mentioned that too. You're going to PM me about something. Okay. Is that ominous? You're going to PM me about something because ominous something. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Let me know. That's cool. That's totally fine. But I think that's, not ominous per se. Okay, cool. I think I know who we're going to raid actually today. This is someone who, let me just make sure that this person is still going to be on when we get over there. Bear with me just one second. This is someone who has helped me in the past. Okay. Yeah, cool. Lovely. So, this is someone who we've helped in the past, we've raided in the past, and someone who's helped with ArvCon in the past, so it's going to be great. So, you folks know the way to do a raid in here. If you haven't already done so, a raid is like this. If you're not a sub, you do this. The ArvNets have landed. Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID. If you are a sub, you're going to do this. ArvNets have landed. Arvany roar, Arvany hype, Arvany whoa, Arvany witch, Arvany what, at Arvany blah, 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 blah. You're going to do all those things when you're brought over automatically to the person that we are going to be raiding, and we're going to be raiding them as soon as we're done here. I'm not going to push anything on my channel today other than just to say, please follow the channel. You can check out Arv things if you want to see about subbing and doing all that good stuff. Normally I talk about that stuff, but I'm not going to do that today. The thing I really want you to do today is to donate and to spread the word about ArvCon and let people know. Lovely start today, folks. Really a great opening. $1,400 is a hell of an opening gambit. So thank you all for being a part of this amazing event. Amazing because you all make it that way. Thank you for being a part of this, our 7th annual ArvCon. And yeah, thank you for being lovely, energizing people. I will see you folks tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Please come with any questions you might have for the scientists. I'm sure they will stick around in chat a little bit after we have our conversation. We don't have a lot of time with them tomorrow, but please come by and say hi to them because it's an honor to have them. We're doing this for them, really, and it's an honor to have them on board with us. So please come join with all of that. Thank you again to my wonderful mods who made this an awesome stream. Thank you to Coven. Thank you to Dragon Spear. Again, Dragon Spear, thanks so much for the incredible work with the spreadsheet, man. Thank you to Hillness for the incredible generosity and for being an awesome mod. Thanks for the resub today. It's Law and for being a mod. JRab, thanks for all of the stuff that you were doing with promoing, with working with Dragon on making sure we knew how the giveaways were working. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much as well to Key Armor Burner for stopping by. Hopefully your friend will stop in, Burner. Good to see you. Thank you for Shadowed Mage for doing all of this work with Arcanusbot, with managing stuff, being in touch with the folks from Damon Runyon. Obviously the splash screen that you see in front of you and all that. Thank you so much for that work. Thank you to Triffity Mats for doing all the work as a mod here and, you know, during other times, not just ArvCon. We already talked about what Arcanusbot, Shadow Mage did that. Thank you so much to the Rising Tides, especially for the extra work you're doing, Brandon, with handling stuff on Monday by running the one-shot with Pirewalk. I'm very excited to see that. Thank you so much for that as well. And thank you to my wonderful subscribers, Coven, Dragon Spear, Hillness, It's Law, JRab, Key Armor. Thank you to Shadowed, Triffid. Thank you to, as well, Nonstop, Polar, Ballstag, Cat Rambo, Crit Twitch, and Mrs. Dunsel. Thanks for all the resubs within that group, and special thanks to Nonstop today. I noticed a lot of you did donations, and thank you for all who did. Thanks, Nonstop, for being the first donator of the event and setting that bar, as you said. Thank you so much, Nonstop. I appreciate it. Thank you to my viewers, 1174. Thank you to Agfred. Thank you to Fury Fire. What's up, Fury? Thank you to GameLift. Thank you to Jefta. Thank you to Junketing, Live Suing, Marinda, McCreeper. Thank you to Rogue. Thank you to Second Obs. Thank you to Stealth Strike, to you, Christensen, and Video Store Cowboy. And a special thanks today to my players, to Kat, to Johnny, to Zach, and to Carlos. And special thanks to the generosity of the amazing donators today. Let's keep it up, folks. We are just getting started. Day 1 in the books. 3 days left to go. I'll see you tomorrow for 11:30 a.m. Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern for the interview with the scientist. Until then, everyone stick around for the raid and exclamation point donate. Let's keep that number heading upwards. Thanks, everyone. Much love. I'll catch you all soon. Bye for now.
When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the Crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.